Hello there, this is Beth Gaff. I am the technology trainer here at the Peabody Public Library, located in Columbia City, Indiana. And first off, I just want to let you know that this class is geared to go at your pace, which means that you can stop this, go away from this, minimize this, and come back to this at any time. You're under no obligation to sit through this class in an entire setting at once. It is quite a large class, so it will take you some time to kind of get through it and figure out what it is that's going to benefit you the most out of the class. Lately, I've had a lot of people that have wanted me to help them work on their resumes, as well as helping them find jobs through major job databases and so forth and so on. So I thought maybe creating a class would be helpful and beneficial to all. So today we're going to be talking about things you can do to help you get hired. So this class is skills to help you get hired, or skills to help you get the job. So let's go ahead and get started with this class. Like I said, it's a quite large one, so I want to make sure that we understand what exactly we are going to be covering. I am not sure if it's going to go exactly in this order for the class today. However, these will be the items that will be discussed within the class today. So we're going to be talking about top tech skills everyone should know, things about how to back up your data on your computer, some simple computer programs, how the internet works, using multiple platforms, Google, typing, and computer security. We're also going to be touching base on 14 skills and values employers seek in job seekers. So we're going to be going over some personality traits as well as Microsoft Office skills that you should know to help you get that job. Computer skills that will help you land the job. So what skills you actually need beyond just the computer, but also computer skills that will help you get hired. We're going to go over some job searching tips, computer programs you should know. We are going to be talking about all the Microsoft Office information and programs. Also, if you are currently in a job, the best way to be leaving your current job, or if you're planning on leaving your current job, we're going to be talking about that. The future in jobs, where are jobs going to be going in the future for us? We're also going to be taking a look at one of the best job databases out there right now, and that is Indeed. We're going to build a resume together. I'm going to take you over some resume templates that will benefit you and help you, some really easy ones, as well as A to Z databases. This is an online resource that the library offers to you for looking for a job through their online resource, which is actually through Indeed. So that is another way that you can get to Indeed, as well as other things that A to Z offers everyone. So I don't want to waste any more time. I want to go ahead and get this going. So we are going to start discussing ways to get that better job for you. We are going to start our class off today with the top tech skills everyone should know when it comes to computers. We all know that we are in a world of technology, and you're probably going to be hearing me say that quite a bit throughout this class. And the computer is really the way to go. And I know some of us don't really like the fact that computers have taken over and that we are no longer 100% control of everything that we have. And that leaves us all a little frustrated at times. And I get that. However, unfortunately, technology isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's going to be getting more and more and more. It's just going to continue to evolve. So instead of fighting it, we should probably try to play with it instead. So we're going to start with talking about backing up data. Excuse me. Backing up your data. Very few of us aren't digitally creating and storing everything from photos and phone numbers to sensitive records and files. And the simple act of having another copy can prevent data loss spanning from inconvenient to tragic. So from a computer person's perspective, knowing how to back up your data can save you time when it comes to disaster recovery. It also gives the user a peace of mind knowing that their data can be easily restored. Typically, your computer will come up with will have some type of a program on it that will allow you to do a backing up. You can do the backing up on CDs. You can do the backing up on flash drives. You can use an external hard drive, things that plug into your USB port. just to make it easy for yourself. You can also create restore points on your computer, which if something would happen and it would crash, you would be able to go back to the last place that you actually restored it. So if you're working with Windows 7, Windows 8, or Windows 10, which most of us are nowadays, really on Windows 7, you just need to go down to your start menu. At the very top there, you do have a search, and you could actually type in Windows Backup. On Windows 8 and 10, it's the same concept. You can, on Windows 8, actually, you still have that charms bar. So you could pull that charms bar out and go into the search and just type in Windows Update. As well as with Windows 10, you can use Cortana, and she can assist you. She's your little assistant down there by your start menu. That would allow you to look up Windows Backup. This is something you can also Google. They do have programs out there that you can purchase to help you organize and back up data. But this is a very good skill to know, especially if you're planning on doing something in the computer field. Because most people that hire you are probably going to expect that you already know how to do backing up of data. This would be backing up your system as well as files. So if you have files on your computer that you don't want a chance of destroying, having a backup for those would be a great idea. Pictures, photos, music even that you may have on there. Having another spot that you could go back and retrieve that would be a great idea. You can do that with a flash drive. You can do that with an external hard drive. You can put your music on discs. You can put your photos on discs. There's a lot of ways that you can actually back up data, as well as making sure that the system on your computer is completely backed up. So you want to make sure that you're looking into this. If you need any further help with that, please just get in contact with me here at the library, and I can assist you with getting that taken care of. Next, we're going to talk about Microsoft Excel. This is data entry and creating graphs and spreadsheets. So this is a very good skill to know. Doesn't have to be something that you have to know everything about, but understanding what it looks like and knowing certain things about it is probably a very, very good idea. Most employers these days want to know want to hire people that have Microsoft Office skills, and Excel is rated as one of the top ones that they want you to know about. By the same token, Excel is the default tool for storing all types of data, from household records to your corporate profit and loss statements. Being able to navigate a spreadsheet is indispensable. So you can actually use Excel as a home tool as well. You could do a lot of your banking this way, just for your own personal knowledge, as well as any other kind of data that you might want to create for yourself. So looking into Microsoft Excel would be a really great idea. They do offer other programs out there that are compatible, as well as able to open up with other programs. They are compatible with each other, and they are free. So you wouldn't necessarily have to pay for the service. So for instance, Apache OpenOffice. OpenOffice is a free software. It does not cost you anything for it. You do have to have internet to actually download the package, but once you have it downloaded, you would not need internet to use it. And they do have a spreadsheet program that is very similar to Excel, and you are able to save it and open it in Excel if you needed to do that. Another one would be Google Sheets. And in order to access this, you do have to have a Google account, which means you need to create yourself a Gmail account. And this works very similar to Microsoft Excel and is also compatible with it. So if you save it as a Google Sheets type of file, you would be able to open that up in Microsoft Excel. Now, the difference between those would be with Google Sheets, that is internet-based. So you would be using that through the internet, and everything is stored through the internet that way. So that is some of those differences with that. So you're also going to want to know how the internet works, okay? In general, you probably have a pretty good handle on how the magical connections behind a computer screen are made. Wouldn't it be nice if your friends and relatives had some basic knowledge and could reset their IP address or DHCP server without calling you first? So I know I said a lot of words there that probably have you wondering what I'm even talking about, but understanding what the internet, how the internet works is very important. Um, because that is the way of technology these days, pretty much everywhere you go, as well as a job, is using the internet on a regular basis. So understanding how to opening new tabs, closing, um, accessing the internet in general, what you're going to use, whether it be Microsoft Edge, which is on your newer ones, which is on Microsoft 10 as well as, or yeah, or on Windows 10. I apologize. Also, or Internet Explorer. Maybe you enjoy using Chrome or Firefox. Whatever your web browser is that you use, you just want to make sure you understand how search engines are used, which your search engines would be Yahoo, Google, Bing, Ask. There's tons of them out there, MSN. There's a lot of different types of search engines out there. And then you want to know how to be able to navigate through websites. So when you're actually somebody, your new boss has come to you and they've said, hey, I just found this great website. I need you to find out what it's all about. And they hand you this website. You know what you're doing. So you would need to go up into the address bar. And I'll kind of go over a little bit of that later when we're actually looking at some of this stuff. But you need to know how to go up to the address bar and type in that actual web address that they've given you. That way you can get in there and kind of float around and click buttons. That's the best thing I can tell you about the internet is don't be afraid of it and be okay with going around and pushing buttons. You're not going to hurt anything. It's not going to make your computer crash on you. That's what it's there for. They have links on those web pages for a reason. They want you to click them. So definitely take the opportunity to go through that and see what you can do. Next, we're going to talk about operating systems and antivirus up to date. Operating systems would be what your computer is running on. So whether that be the operating system of Windows 10 or Windows 8 or Windows 7, that is your operating system to get you around. Security is a problem for every technology user, so you definitely want to make sure that your antivirus is going to be up to date. They do have some free ones out there that you can get for your personal use, but more than likely if you're working for a company, they probably already have a purchased type of antivirus that are on all of their computers, so being aware of what they're using is a good idea, but just knowing for your own personal knowledge that yours is up to date and how to do that process is very important to learn that. The world as we know it has become more digital, and everyone has important information on their computers. Antivirus software and OS updates are important to making sure your data is secure. So make sure that you are running those antiviruses and keeping your system backed up, as well as understanding your operating system and how it's working for you. So how to navigate effectively using multiple platforms. Are you wasting time when you think you're multitasking? Every day we use our computers to check email, install and run software, and the note a respondent. While seamlessly simple, such tasks are so frequent that small inefficiencies add up. A basic understanding of how to accomplish daily tasks across multiple platforms makes you more versatile and less dependent on other people to help you. So making sure that you understand the difference between a JPEG and a PDF would be a good idea. That's a file exchange. It's the way that we save certain files. Being able to have more than one tab open on the internet at a time so you can flip back and forth is a good thing to learn, as well as some of those navigational points that you do have on your computer, which would be your search tools, or if you're working with Windows 10, that would be Cortana. Everything on your computer is searchable. Every single file manager that you have has its own search engine in it, or not search engine, but search field. So if you're looking for a specific file and you're having a hard time finding it, you could go in there and you would be able to look it up. Making sure that you know how to use Google. Google is a very, very useful tool. Again, you would need a Google account, which means that you would need to go in and create yourself a Gmail account. But being able to understand and using Google is very important. This is going to save you on money in the long run because you can use Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and those are all going to be compatible with Microsoft Office programs. Now, everything on Google is internet based, so you would have to have internet, and the storage of it is also internet based. So now what's nice about Google is that it follows you. So it's not something that's just stored on your computer. You can actually access Google from anywhere at any time. It follows you, and so if you do go on vacation, you've left the computer and laptops and everything at home, and you need to get in and get something sent to work right away, Google would be a fantastic resource for you. You can go down to the hotel lobby, log into their internet, get onto their internet computer, log into your Google account, and boom, there you go. You have access to everything that you have saved on it, and you've done it from someone else's computer, and you're not your own. And that is how it works. That's another skill to understand of how the internet works. You just have to log into accounts from other locations, and you would still be able to access all of your information if it's on the internet. Google has become the first stop of the majority of internet users. Knowing a few simple search operators and the filters available through Google can help tailor any search and save in significant time. Being able to understand basic HTML. Since so much of our daily lives incorporates browsing the internet, knowing HTML helps you understand what's possible on the web. It can also help you have a little more patience when web page isn't working right away. And I'm guilty of that as well, wanting instant, I've typed it in, why aren't you coming on? So understanding what a basic HTML is, how it works. A lot of times when I work with people, they want to click, click, click. And I always tell them, look for those little whirlies. You get little whirlies that come up because they're loading. If you're seeing those on your tabs, don't click anymore. Let them run. Every time you click, it's running it as a new. So make sure that you are understanding how all that works. And you can Google basic HTML, and it's going to tell you how all of that goes. Understanding why you should be restarting your computer. Your help desk manager is right. Restarting has the potential of quickly solving a lot of your technical issues. From basic software errors to hardware driver conflicts, you can solve all of that by just restarting. We have a little joke sometimes around my house and such that just reboot. Actually that is a very big problem solver. So if you're having a problem with your computer, just being able to restart it is a good knowledgeable thing to know. Going into your power off on and going to restart will completely reboost your programming and hopefully get you back on track. But that could be the reason why you're having problems. And anytime you do updates, if it doesn't automatically restart, you would probably want to go ahead and restart it to make sure that all of those updates have been applied. Typing is another very valuable skill that you should have when it comes to looking for a job, and this is something you should be completely familiar with. Those old business school skills are even more important today because so much daily communication is through messaging and screens. But you'll need to adapt to the quirky method to account for multiple devices and keyboard types. There's a lot of different ways that we can keyboard and type nowadays. One very nice thing that they've done for us, though, is back in the day when we first learned keyboarding, which wasn't computers, it was a nice little typewriter in a room, and we all went in there, and we did our little typing skills. But what they've done for us is they haven't changed any of that around. All of your letters are still in the same place as they were on the typewriter on a keyboard. Okay, now they may have added some extra things to it, but the letters themselves are still in the same spot. So everything you learned back then is still effective today, except now you may have a few more buttons that you need to learn. Now, it does, when it comes to multiple screens, they're talking about tablets and smartphones and touch screen type laptops and things along those lines. They do have a quirky type keyboard that will pop up on the screen, and you would be able to type with your fingers, thumbs, however that works. But being familiar with typing in general is a good idea. 45 words per minute is a practical thing to be doing. They have tons of different typing tests out there that is beneficial to you. So you should definitely get on those. And hopefully throughout this class here, we'll be able to talk about some of that a little bit more. And I can show you some of those programs. Understanding computer security kind of goes along with your antivirus. Security breaches are not only a worry for big corporations or top secret government agencies. Phishing scams, ransomware, and data theft affect unexpectedly and unsuspecting individuals every day. People and organizations often store sensitive information electronically. It is important to know and follow best practices to help keep this information safe. So if you aren't using an antivirus or any kind of security software, then you probably shouldn't really be on the internet at all for purposes like the hacking. Your bigger corporations, if you're storing your credit cards online and things like that, we're always taking the risks of something happening. Okay. So these were the top tech skills everyone should know. If you need any more help with this, please contact me here at the library. I'd be more than happy to help you with that. But it's really important to know these things. Google them. Get on YouTube. YouTube is a very valuable resource. See if you can find some videos on some of these to get yourself better educated on a lot of these top tech skills that you should know. All right, so we are now going to be talking about the 14 skills and values that employers are seeking in job seekers. This goes for personality traits as well as giving you some resume suggestions that you can use on that resume just to kind of get it going for yourself. So most job seekers wish they could unlock the secret formula to winning over employers. What they wonder is the magic mix of skills and values that make employers want to hire them on the spot. While each employer is looking for a unique set of skills from job seekers for each job opening, certain skills and values are nearly universally sought by hiring managers. While technical skills will always be important, soft skills have become the most sought out skill in employment today. So according to an analysis of 2.3 million LinkedIn profiles for the Wall Street Journal, nearly 58% of employees who touted stellar communication skills were hired over the course of a year, making it clear that soft skills is more than just a buzzword in the job market these days. Good news is that most job seekers possess these skills to some extent. The better news is that job seekers with weaknesses in these areas can improve their skills through training, professional development, or obtaining coaching, mentoring from someone who understands these skills. The best news is that once you understand the skills and characteristics that most employers seek, you can tailor your job searching, communication, your resume, your cover letter, and interview language to showcase how well your background aligns with common employer requirements. So we're going to actually go through the 14 different skills and values, and the first one is professionalism. Professionalism deals with acting in a responsible and fair manner in all your personal and work activities, which is seen as a sign of maturity and self-confidence. So try to avoid being petty. Professionalism means that you're not going to that job interview with jeans and a t-shirt. You're actually putting some effort into that, and you're wearing something nice that's going to attract people to think, oh, well, this is how they'd probably dress every day. Things like that do matter in the job market. Although our future here in the world, being where I work, I've actually seen people come into job interviews that are wearing shorts, t-shirts, jeans. I don't think that most employers do a screening of that, but just for personal reference, looking professional is really the way to go. You don't want to be coming in looking like you just woke up and rolled out of bed to come to a job interview. So how to describe this skill on your resume? You could put in that you are a go-getter who's highly organized, dedicated, and committed to professionalism. So professionalism is not a label you give yourself, it's a description you hope others will apply to you. So first impressions are definitely something to think about. And if you're walking in with jeans and a t-shirt, you're probably not giving off the exact vibe that you want the employer to see you having. So we're going to move on to the next trait or skill that you should have when you are seeking for a job here. So another really good personality trait would be honesty and integrity. Employers probably respect personal integrity more than any other value, especially in light of many recent corporate scandals. So, really, employers are looking for somebody that they're not going to have to babysit. As long as you're coming in, especially if it's a job where you're going to be working primarily by yourself or something along those lines, they don't have time to monitor everything you're doing all of the time. So, making sure that you're honest and you have some integrity is a really, really good personality trait and skill and a value to those employers. How to describe this skill on your resume? A seasoned professional whose honesty and integrity create effective leadership and optimal business relationships. So that's one way of phrasing honesty and integrity when it comes to finding the job. So we're going to talk about the next personality trait or skill or value, and that is adaptability. Adaptability deals with openness to new ideas and concepts, to working independently or as part of a team, and to carrying out multiple tasks or projects. So being able to adapt to what's around you is a really good idea. Having some really great ideas to bring to the table and accepting those ideas of your coworkers is what employers are looking for. They're looking for somebody that is able to battle several different tasks or projects at one time, especially if you're working independently. They don't want to have to worry about, again, babysitting you and making sure that you're getting those items done. These are things that you should be doing. And so being able to adapt to your environment, your team, being a team player. Everybody wants a team player. So when you're applying for that job or going in for that interview, some of the resume options that you could put down on your resume when it comes to adaptability is highly adaptable, mobile, positive, resilient, patient. Risk taker is open to new ideas. So you definitely have opinions out there and you want to bring them to the table, but you also need to respect the others as well. So being able to adapt to your environment is pretty important to employers. So let's take a look at the next one. Probably one of the most important skill, values, or traits, however we want to look at that, when it comes to job seeking is problem solving. We deal with problem solving all the time, and they really do enjoy it when you can figure things out for yourself and you're not constantly running to the boss to solve your problems. Employers seek job seekers who love what they do and will keep it until they solve the problem and get the job done. So, and that goes true for just about anything. You definitely want to be able to figure out what your solutions are to the problem and come up with the best solution for you. Some of how to describe this skill on your resume, you could put that you're a productive worker with solid work ethic who exerts optimal efforts in successfully completing tasks. So you stay on task, you get things done, a problem comes your way, you can get it solved. That's what job seekers are looking for, as well as being the team player with that. Helping your team, helping your coworkers be able to problem solve as well. If it's stopping you from doing your job, then you need to figure out how you can all work together so everybody's able to get their job done together. And that's part of your problem solving. So we're going to move on to our next trait. With problem solving being one of the top things that employers are looking for, quite honestly, dependability, reliability, and responsibility is probably the top. Being dependable means that we do what we have said we were going to do when we said we were going to do it in the best way that we can. I can't sum it up any better than that nice little picture I found. If you're coming into work late every day, they're going to find somebody that's going to come in on time. They need somebody reliable and dependable that's going to show up to work and do their job. They also need you to be responsible. You need to take responsibility for your actions and things that happen that involve you. So, putting the blame on other people is probably not such a great idea, especially when you're in the job market. You need to take responsibility for what is yours. You need to own it, as well as being able to be dependable and reliable. There's no question that all employers desire employees who will arrive to work every day on time and ready to work, and who will take responsibility for their actions. So you definitely want to prove yourself to that employer so you're able to prove who you are and it's as well. Dependability, reliability, and responsibility are probably one of the most important things. So how can you describe this on your resume? Just by simply putting that you're dependable, responsible contributor, committed to excellence and success. So now let's talk about our attitude. All right, another really, really important trait or values that employers are looking for is someone that comes in with a positive attitude, is motivated to do their job, has some energy and spunk to themselves, and has a passion for what they're doing. The job seekers who get hired and the employees who get promoted are the ones with drive and passion and who demonstrate this enthusiasm through words and their actions. So coming into work every day with a "oh woe is me" attitude probably isn't going to get you very far. You would be better off coming in with a "well, look at the bright side" type of attitude than "I'm down in the dumps" kind of attitude. Making sure that you have your own motivation. Somebody shouldn't be coming around saying, "Are you doing something? What are you doing today? I need to know what you've done for the last week." Instead, you need to take initiative and have that motivation yourself and get out there and do what you need to do to get the job done. Have the energy that it takes to get yourself motivated and have that positive attitude. And especially having a passion for what you're doing. People notice. So if you don't like your job, somebody is going to notice that. And that's going to be through the passion, the energy, the motivation, and the positive attitude that you display. So how can you describe this on your resume as a skill? You could put that you're an energetic performer that is consistently cited for passion for your job. You have a sunny disposition and upbeat and positive attitude. So there's several different ways that you can do this. And my picture here says ability is what you are capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do, and attitude determines how well you do it. And that is so very, very true. So make sure that you've got a positive attitude with a smile on your face. You've got some motivation to get yourself out there, including that energy, and have a little bit of passion for your job. Let's talk about some loyalty. Loyalty is pretty important value to an employer just because they want to make sure that you're going to stick around. Employers want employees who will have a strong devotion to the company, even at times when the company is not necessarily loyal to its employees. So just because they're not treating you as well as they should, can, or have in the past, doesn't mean that you should be any less loyal. You have to remember that we are all expendable, which means that they'll just replace you. They'll find somebody that is willing to be loyal to the company, has the passion, has the motivation, has the dependability, reliability, honesty, integrity, has all of these things. They don't have to keep you. They can find someone else. And depending upon what state you're in, I live in Indiana, and in Indiana we have a no-fault state. So they can fire you for any reason, and they don't have to have a reason to do it. Why give them one when they don't need one? So try to be loyal to your company. If you're having problems, seek out a supervisor and find out how you can come up with a medium that's going to be beneficial to both of you. That way they're both getting something out of the situation. How you can describe being loyal on your resume, you could just put loyal and dedicated manager with an excellent work record. So that's just an opinion of how you could word that on your resume. So now we're going to talk a little bit about self-confidence. So having self-confidence just in normal everyday life is just a really good trait or feature to have amongst ourselves. If we don't have confidence in ourselves, how can we expect other people to have the confidence we expect? I mean, think about that. I have quite a few people that I know that lack the self-confidence part of it. You have to have confidence in what you're doing. You can't make people believe in you if you don't believe in you. Okay? And this kind of goes along with our picture. I won't do it. I can't do it. Well, I want to do it. Well, how do I do it? I'll try to do it. Oh, wait, I can do it. I will do it. And yeah, I did it. That is a self-confidence feature. And it's very important to have self-confidence just in everyday life. Look at it this way. If you don't believe in yourself, in your unique mix of skills, education, and abilities, why should a prospective employer? Be confident in yourself and what you can offer employers. So when you go in for that interview or you're filling out your application, don't be afraid to put down how you feel about yourself in a positive attitude. Have self-confidence. Show them that you're worthy, to them. You have confidence in yourself, therefore you can accept confidence from other people. A way to be able to word that on your resume, how to describe this skill, is confident, hardworking employee who is committed to achieving excellence. So I couldn't put it any better myself on that one. Next, we're going to talk about self-motivation. While teamwork is always mentioned as an important skill, so is the ability to work independently with minimal supervision. So self-motivation means that you are able to perform what you need to do on your own without a lot of assistance, okay? You need to have that self-confidence and that self-motivation to get the job done, especially if you're working at an independent level where you don't have somebody that is constantly on you and so forth. When we were talking about the honesty and integrity, you need to be able to be left alone to work at your own pace, and that's where self-motivation comes into play. You need to respect yourself, have positive suggestions, and just have that unconscious programming of self-motivation. It's very important skill to make sure that you have. How to describe this skill on your resume? You could just put that you're a highly motivated self-starter who takes initiative and needs minimal supervision. So meaning you can leave me alone and I'll do what I need to do. And that's important to employers these days. Well, this kind of goes hand in hand with our willingness to learn as well, and that's what we're going to be talking about next. So willingness really is the key to motivation. No matter what your age, no matter how much experience you have, you should always be willing to learn new skills or a new technique. Jobs are constantly changing and evolving, and you must show an openness to grow and learn with that change. I work in a very, very, very hectic field. The technology field is not something that is for everyone. With the evolving of technology and the emerging and all the changes that happen all the time, I really, really need to have an open door here and the willingness to learn new things. I deal with a lot of people that struggle with this area, being able to adjust to changes and the willingness to learn new things. Sometimes when things are forced upon us, whether we like them or not, we're just not as willing to learn them as we would be if it was something that we wanted to learn. So keep that in mind as you are applying for that job. Even though you may not know everything there is to know, there's always an open door for a willingness to learn. So how would you describe this skill set on your resume? You could just put that you're enthusiastic, knowledge-hungry learner, eager to meet challenges, and quickly assimilate new concepts. So you definitely want to try to catch on as fast as you can when it comes to learning the way that an employer wants you to do things. I meet with several people that don't understand why an employer wants certain things done a certain way. Well, it's not our place to really question the way that an employer wants things. It's our place to adjust and learn the way that they want it and adapt and have motivation to get in there and do it the way that the employer wants us to do it. Okay? And again, I can't stress this enough. You're irreplaceable. They can find somebody that's willing to do what they want. Don't fight it. Play with it. That's what I always tell everyone then when they don't want to adjust to certain kind of changes. We can't fight this forever. At some point, we got to play along with it. Okay? And that's where this willingness to learn comes in. So let's talk about some leadership skills. If you go into the mindset with the job that I have a set schedule that I do every day, my tasks are the same thing every day, and I'm okay with that, there's really there's no room for you to be able to grow with that company when you have that mindset. Leadership and management skills are very, very important. That's what job seekers are looking for. They're looking for a team leader, somebody that can guide the rest of that team when they're not able to be around to do it. While there are some debate about whether leadership is something people are born with, these skills deal with your ability to take charge and manage your coworkers. They're looking for somebody that can think outside of the box and will go over and beyond for that job. This is where your loyalty comes into play. Your motivation comes into play. Your honesty and integrity. The relationship you have with your coworkers as a team. It's very, very important. So if you have some of these leadership qualities or management skills, the way that you might be able to describe this on your resume would be a goal-driven leader who maintains a productive climate and confidently mobilizes, and coaches employees to meet high performance standards. So they're looking for a coach. They're looking for somebody that can help them run the business. Why not let it be you? You don't always have to be the one taking orders. You can actually be the one giving the orders for a change. So I've always, in my or I guess in my work years, have never been content with just one type of position. I've always wanted to grow with companies. I've always wanted to know as much as I can know. I've always floated around. I want to learn this. I want to learn that. I want to learn this. And that makes you more valuable to that employer. If they can take you and throw you in any position because they're shorthanded, you are so valuable to them. So you need to think about that when you're thinking about leadership and management skills. Let's talk about some multicultural sensitivity awareness. There is possibly no bigger issue in the workplace than diversity, and job seekers must demonstrate a sensitivity and awareness to other people and cultures. There are different kinds of people and cultures, and being able to adjust to those cultures. Basically, just don't go out of your way to stereotype, be judgmental, classifying them in different categories. People are people, and they should all be treated that way. So we need to make sure that we're aware of the multicultural sensitivity and how it plays a role in our everyday work environment. Not everybody is like you, so you need to be able to adapt to your surroundings to be able to be that best team player that you can be to the rest of your coworkers, as well as whether you're dealing with customers, patrons, patients, clients, whatever you call them. Not everybody is in the same multicultural sensitivity as you are. So you need to be able to adjust and accommodate for those different cultural influences that you may come across. Now, how can you describe the skill on your resume if you're already very highly multicultural, sensitive, and aware? You could put that you're a personable professional with strengths that include cultural sensibility and the ability to build rapport with a diverse workforce in multicultural settings. You really just need to feed into your community and find out what needs need met there, and adapt and adjust the way that you need them to. So let's talk about planning and organization next. Planning and organization deals with your ability to design, plan, organize, and implement projects and tasks within an allocated time frame. So it also involves goal setting. So making sure that you're organized, you've got good plans going, especially if you're on deadlines and time crunches, you want to make sure that you're able to motivate yourself with a positive attitude to get the planning going, get yourself organized, and to be able to get your team involved in any way that you might be able to do that. So being able to describe the skill on your resume, you could say that it's a results-driven achiever with planning and organization skills, along with a high degree of detail orientation. So the more information, sometimes the better. And then again, in other instances, the less you know, the better off you are. So you just kind of got to do this with a grain of salt. Decide what your planning is going to be, what you're trying to accomplish, how you want to organize it, how you want to get the plan going for yourself. I mean, come up with a whole game plan for this, because it really is an important feature and trait that employers could be looking for. And most of all, you want to make sure that you've got some teamwork. So we're going to talk about teamwork next. Really, the worst kind of a job environment is the type of job environment where you've got a bunch of people that you work with that say, that's not my job. Okay, well, that's one of my very, very, very huge pet peeves, is hearing people say, that's not my job. Because quite honestly, we're all a team, and it is your job. It is everybody's job, especially if it's preventing you from doing your job. It then becomes your job. We're better off, like I've said before, not battling it, not battling our coworkers, not fighting them, but trying to work with them. We need to play nicely with our coworkers and try to figure out how we can work together and make things work for all of us. It's not just about you, it's not just about me, it's about all of us, and that's the way we should be looking at that. Because so many jobs involve working in one or more work groups, you must have the ability to work with others in a professional manner while attempting to achieve a common goal. This is where your professionalism comes back into play, because not everybody is always going to agree with you, and you aren't always going to agree with everyone else. That doesn't mean that we should not have a good attitude, that we shouldn't be professional, that we should shut down and not be motivated, that we should lower anybody else's self-confidence because of them not seeing things the way we see things. Nobody is ever going to see eye to eye. So trying to force people to do things against their will is going to do you no good at all. Like I've said, and I'll continue to say, you're better off to work with them than try to fight them. Okay? And some of the ways that you might be able to describe this trait on your resume, if you are truly a very valuable team player, is that you're a resourceful team player who excels at building trusting relationship with customers and colleagues. So that is very, very important when it comes to what employers are looking for. They're looking for somebody willing to be a team player and be a part of that teamwork. So here's some final thoughts on employment skills and values. Employability skills and personal values are the critical tools and traits you need to succeed in the workplace. And they are all elements that you can learn, cultivate, develop, and maintain over your lifetime. Once you have identified the sought-after skills and values and assess the degree to which you possess them, begin to market them by building them into your resume, cover letter, and interview answers. And this is for a job search success. So these were the 14 skills, values, and traits that employers are looking for. I hope that this helps you when you're ready to start that resume, and maybe some of these skills you didn't know that they're looking for. So you are very welcome when it comes to that. I've got you ahead of the game. And if you have any questions or comments about any of this, please get in contact with me. All right, so it's time for us to start talking about what are actually employability skills. Employers are often looking for skills that go beyond educational degrees, certifications, and licenses. While your education may make you eligible to apply for a job, you will need to exhibit a mix of skills to be successful at the job. So what are employability skills? Employability skills, also known as key competencies or soft skills, are those basic skills necessary for getting, keeping, and doing well on the job. These are skills, attitudes, and actions that enable coworkers to get along with their fellow workers and supervisors and to make sound critical decisions. Employability skills are generally divided into 3 skill sets. A being your basic academic skills, B being your critical thinking skills, and C is your personal qualities. The three skill sets are typically broke down into more detailed skill sets. So let's familiarize ourselves with these skills and ask yourself where you may need improvement in some of these. So when it comes to the basic skills, these skills are the foundation of your career building blocks. The ability to read with understanding, also known as reading comprehension, is critical to successful employment. If you cannot fully understand the instructions on how to apply for a job, you are at a disadvantage. Many jobs require reading as part of the duties. There are reports, memos, emails, and safety requirements that are a part of day-to-day functions of the job. Poor reading skills will cause you to lag behind other workers because it takes you more time to understand and interpret what you are reading. Employers look for people who communicate well both orally and in writing. You need communication skills to sell yourself during the interview. Be able to convey your thoughts both verbally and in writing helps you to be understood by your coworkers. Good communication means better relationships in the work environment. Listening skills involve not only hearing but understanding. The sign that you were listening is that you can act on the information that you heard. Listening means gaining information and understanding information. Math is also a part of making decisions and reasoning. Basic math skills are used in the workplace when purchasing and ordering supplies, following a budget, or just managing your vacation time. So let's talk a little bit about those critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills involve decision making and problem solving. The ability to make decisions is also an asset to an employer. Decision making and reasoning involve gathering information, evaluating a variety of solutions, and selecting the best option. You can save your employer time and money by demonstrating these skills. People with these skills are especially helpful in customer service positions. Perhaps you solve a problem with an angry customer that allows them to be satisfied and continue supporting your employer. The abilities to problem solve and make well thought out decisions are critical to any workplace. Planning and organizing are also critical thinking skills. The ability to plan and organize means you will get the job done and done correctly. A person who is well organized is prepared to do the job correctly the first time. Creative thinkers come up with new ways of doing things that add value to the work environment and serve customers more efficiently. They offer new perspectives about the job and the company. Finally, a lifelong learner is always a valued employee. Employers know that in order to stay ahead of competition, they have to learn new and better ways of doing things. The person who is open to learning new things is going to be more successful than the person who is afraid of learning new things. So keep that in mind when it comes to your employability skills. Personal qualities as skills. Leadership is the ability to influence others toward the achievement of a goal. Leaders have self-confidence. Leaders are team players. Team spirit is an interpersonal skill that allows individuals to work together to achieve the best results for the employer. They exhibit social skills by respecting the thoughts and opinions of others. This makes for a peaceful work environment. Self-management and self-control is the ability to manage your personal feelings and reactions to challenges on the job and in your life. Personal grooming is part of self-management. A good employee is well-groomed, well-dressed because he or she knows that their appearance is a reflection on the organization. Self-management can also include things that you do that are not linked to a specific job, something as simple as being on time, responsible, cooperative, or motivated, or having a positive attitude. No employer wants to spend his or her day settling office disputes or watching the clock to make sure an employee uses time wisely. Employers want to hire workers who are honest and can manage themselves in these areas. Some jobs involve change on a daily basis. Therefore, employers want people who are adaptable, flexible, and patient and respond well to change. Employers look for these skills to help to determine how a candidate will fit into the organizational culture. So we are actually going to talk about technology skills on the next slide here. However, I wanted you to be aware of what employability skills are and how they can be directed straight towards you. So take a look at these skills, Google them if you have to, find out more about what an employer is looking for when it comes to a skill, because these are very, very critical. Discussing employability skills would be incomplete without discussing technology. You can't escape the use of technology today, whether it's using your debit card at the grocery store, the ATM at the bank, or the self-check-in at the airport. Technology is present. More and more employers are requiring that employees become familiar with a wide variety of computer applications. Computer literacy is knowing and understanding not only what computers can do, but also what they cannot do. Even if you know that you will not be using the computer on your job, it is well worth your while to at least introduce yourself to this form of technology. The internet is loaded with tools that will assist you in finding a job, keeping a job, and advancing in a job. You can also meet and learn from all sorts of people from around the world through social media. If you have your own computer with an internet connection, you can access information at all hours of the day or night at your convenience. To be technology literate, you need skills in these areas: exchanging email, browsing the internet, and using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. This is a list of technology skills to get the job. So basically, the more you know, the better off you are when it comes to technology. This is just a very brief list of the skills. I have a little bit more of a comprehensive list of the skills. So Adobe, any of the Adobe programs is probably a good idea to get yourself familiar with Adobe. If you did not know this, Adobe is where you get those PDF file extensions that you use for being able to convert them to different items. So when you see things that say PDF or something along those lines, then you realize that you are dealing with an Adobe type software. Analytics is a good idea. This is basically just giving you some statistical background of different things. So knowing the analytics of what you're doing to create a graph. Excel's excellent for that. Understanding Androids. Androids are a big part of our world now, so making sure you understand that. Some basic art design is helpful. Making sure you know backup management. Data analysis is another good type of thing that you should know. Email, Excel, graphic design, some hardware techniques. Understanding HTML and how it works is probably an important feature. Installation, internet, Apple, iPhones, Macs, any of the Microsoft programs, Excel, Outlook, Publisher, Word, Visual, any kind of programming that you might know, software, spreadsheets, troubleshooting problems, word processing, Windows. And then we've got a list on here as well. Installation, MacBook, system administration, support. These are all very good technology skills that you should get yourself used to when it comes to technology. Because as the time goes on here, the more you know, the better off you are in the technology field. Now, we're actually going to talk about computer skills that will help you land the job. When you're job searching, employers are going to want to know about your computer skills. That's because no matter what the position is, computers will almost certainly be involved. Just think about how ever-present computers are, from our smartphones to cash registers to ordering systems at restaurants. So how to highlight skills during your job application process. Adding a skills section in your resume is an easy, handy way to draw attention to your abilities, including your computer skills. Because many companies initially search resumes for desired keywords by computer, a good list can get you applications in the door. You can also weave in your skills when you are writing your job descriptions on a resume. For instance, instead of saying edited content on website, you could write edited content within content management system using basic HTML formatting. Before writing your cover letter, read the job description carefully. Even very similar positions can have very different requirements. Your cover letter should fit the job you are applying to very directly. The letter also needs to be clear and engaging, not a skills list. However, you can bring up certain specific skills mentioned in the job description. For example, your job description calls for web design experience, and in my 2 years at ABC Company, I have gone from wireframes to full designs for several relaunches. So here's an example of some computer skills. Prospective employers may want applicants who can use specific programs such as Adobe Illustrator or Microsoft Word, but which programs are sought after in which industries can change rapidly as new technology developments come in. Here's a non-exclusive list of the categories of computer skills. Consider which of these might be relevant to your particular situation. Then be sure to mention the programs that belong to each category as you prepare your application materials, which we kind of discussed all of those categories already in the slide before this. So email, social media, and blogging. Most people with computer access know how to send and receive email, and most have an account on at least one social media platform. Using these tools in a professional content, however, may require a bit more. For example, the successful candidate might have to know how to set up a company email system or know which social media platforms are best for the company's marketing. A good online media director should not only know what to blog about, but should also know which blogging platform best suits the company's needs and how to link the blogs to the company's various social media accounts. Graphic design and word processing. Creating content for documents, posters, and slide presentations is one important body of skill, but another equally important body involves using appropriate computer programs to edit, format, and finalize text, images, and sometimes video or audio in order to create those finished projects. A single project might well pass through multiple computer programs, and a skilled professional needs to know how all relevant programs work and which ones are appropriate at each stage of the work. Being familiar with spreadsheets and databases. A good spreadsheet or database not only stores information, but also makes it easy to to reorganize the information quickly, to answer new questions, or even conduct certain kinds of data analysis and processing. A spreadsheet can handle anything from payroll accounts to lists of all the characters and all of their characteristics for a novel. Again, professional level skills mean more than simply knowing how to use spreadsheet or database. You also must know which spreadsheet or database program to use and how to structure it for any given project. Some IT troubleshooting. Using computers is one thing, being able to fix them is another. Basic IT skills begin with knowing how and when to do routine maintenance and how to cope with frozen programs or damaged USB ports. Thorough familiarity with the software and hardware of many different types of computer systems, including all lesser-known features, is the height of the art. So, also I want to recommend to you that pretty much all employers want to know what your typing skills are going to be. So, typing skills are definitely a must. You want to get on Google and type in typing tests. These will give you some timed typing tests that you're able to start seeing your progress as you go. So today you may only be typing 15 words per minute in a 1-minute test, and tomorrow you may be typing 40 words per minute in a 1-minute test. It just depends on how much practice and flexibility you want to have. Make sure that you're familiar with the internet. Understand the tools and the process of the internet. Understanding how to open new tabs, getting into your email system, getting into the software, researching, finding information out. Be familiar with the internet. Computer software that you should be familiar with, that's going to be all of your Microsoft Office programs. Very, very important to know all those. Those Adobe programs that we had talked about, art design type programs, um, your email systems, your help desk hardware, anything that involves smartphones, networks and programming, presentations, all of that kind of stuff you really should be familiar with. That way, when a employer asks you those questions, you know what they're talking about instead of trying to fake through it. You should expect to be tested when you apply for a job. So when you apply for a job, a lot of them will say, well, I'm going to send you a link now to Microsoft Excel test. When you get done with that, send me your results. A lot of those employers are doing that now. They're doing the Excel, the Word, the typing, and anything else that they need you to know, Linux, anything that they need you to know, things about Windows 10. Well, they want you to be able to know these things, okay? So you should be ready and expect that you're going to be tested. That is the normal way that things are done nowadays. So if you can get these skills, you can land the job. I promise you. If you need any further assistance with this or want to discuss with me what your plan may be for job searching and seeking, or what technology skills you may have, please contact me here at the library. You can do that via email, giving me a call, and we can see what we can do to get you helped out here. In the next few slides, we're actually going to be taking a look at different types of programs that the library offers or the internet itself offers to help you land that job. I want to take a moment and just dig a little bit deeper into the computer skills area because I can't emphasize enough how important this area really is. So this is going to be some more information on computer skills that'll help you land that job. In the next slide, I'm actually going to be going over some more of these tips as well, just to elaborate on what we have already talked about, and then we're going to go into some job searching. If you are in the market for a new job or formulating your professional development plan to position yourself for future career growth, then you should assess the technology preferences of employers in your field. Make sure you review job postings for your target position on major job sites like Indeed.com and niche job sites for your industry. Make a list of tech-related qualifications that are cited most often. Also review worksheet and seminar topics offered through your professional association to identify cutting-edge skills. Consult colleagues in your field and ask them which skills are the most highly valued in their environment. Check LinkedIn to see what skills your connections in similar jobs have on their profiles. You can review a list of skills to be able to put on LinkedIn for more ideas on top skills. You can also upgrade your skills. If your skills need refreshing or you need to acquire a new skill set, there are many free courses online you can take to upgrade your skills. Be sure to include all the new skills you learn on your resume. So the library does have 44 different types of stream classes, and you can get to those by going to www.ppl.lib.in .us. Let me make sure I said that right. www.ppl.lib.in.us. That is where you want to go. Look under the one-on-one tech help or the research line, and then you would be able to access those stream classes that are available to you on the line there. So here are some more computer classes or some computer skills that are prized by employers in a wide variety of sectors. So Microsoft Office, virtually all workers have some familiarity with Microsoft Word. However, individuals who can carry out mail merges, modify macro scripts, format documents, and execute other complex functions are most highly recruited. So I do have a list of Microsoft Office skills that they feel that you should be having in order to apply for these positions. Spreadsheets, facilities with spreadsheet programs, especially Microsoft Excel, is referenced in many job announcements. Candidates who can create complex macros to organize spreadsheets, information are in particularly high demand. So brush up on that Excel if you don't have those skills already. PowerPoint, a solid grasp of PowerPoint for workers who wish to conduct dynamic presentations or prepare materials for bosses and colleagues is essential. Job candidates who can show employers some attractive examples of presentation slides will often have a leg up in the hiring process. So if you're not real familiar with PowerPoint, you might want to take a look at it and see how it works. I can also help you with that. Microsoft Access. Job seekers who can organize and manipulate data through programs like Microsoft Access have an advantage in today's information-intensive economy. Microsoft Access can be difficult at times to work with, but if you familiarize yourself with it, create yourself different types of databases, then you would be good to go on that. QuickBooks. Many small businesses and some larger ones use QuickBooks for accounting, payroll, invoicing, reporting, and more. If you're working in an accounting or administrative role, a working knowledge of QuickBooks is definitely an asset. So if you're not very familiar with QuickBooks, I'm sure that you could actually get on YouTube and type in QuickBooks and get yourself some videos there to kind of show you how QuickBooks work and how you can get around. Your email systems. We all use email as part of our personal and professional lives, but those individuals who can perform advanced functions with email programs like Microsoft Outlook can increase office productivity. So if you only have an email with Yahoo, you may want to check into some of the others to kind of expand your knowledge with the email systems and the differences and similarities between them. Web and social skills. Most organizations are looking to enhance their footprint on the web and within social media. Workers who can maintain, upgrade websites using tools like content management systems, HTML, Dreamweaver, WordPress, and Java are very attractive to employers. Candidates who understand how to leverage social media to convey messages about their organization are in high demand. So make sure you brush up on your web and social media skills. Graphic and writing skills. Knowledge of Photoshop and graphics programs like InDesign and Illustrator enable employees to optimize the look and feel of websites and other communications. Writing skills are also important for many different jobs. So a lot of your local libraries will offer you some type of writing classes or reading type classes or something along those lines. So if you feel like you may fall in that category that may need assistance, you may want to check with your local library on that as well. Enterprise systems. Most larger employers utilize enterprise systems like Oracle and PeopleSoft as platforms for their operations. Mastering applications within these systems can enhance your appeal to these types of organizations. So keep that in mind. There are job-specific skills. There are many skills that are job-dependent. They have a list of them online, so you can find those for employment skills listed to the job to ensure you have the top skills employers are seeking in candidates. Highlight those skills in your job application to show hiring organizations you have the right stuff to get hired. And you can match your skills to the job requirements. When you're working on your resume and cover letters, take the time to mention the skills you have that are listed in the job posting. Show the employer that you have skills the company needs. So you can get online as well and look up how to match your qualifications to a job description. You can also look up skill lists for resumes. So that would help you. And some Microsoft Office skills for resume would be share, pin, emails, things along those lines. Employers across many industries and fields expect job seekers to have Microsoft Office skills. It's probably the most universally utilized software in business around the globe. You may not need to be an expert in Microsoft Office, but it will help your job prospects to at least be acquainted with the basics and to be considered for most roles. If you're applying for an administrative position, you should be well versed in using Office programs for your daily tasks. In this case, your hiring manager will no doubt expect a high level of proficiency. For other jobs, even high-level positions, literacy in at least Microsoft Word is typically expected. Microsoft Office includes 10 different desktop applications, and the most common are Excel for spreadsheets, Outlook for mail, PowerPoint for visual presentations, and Word for desktop publishing. So keep those in mind. And let's get a little bit more specific on these common computer skills and what they're actually looking for. So to get better understanding of Microsoft Excel, employers will be delighted to find job seekers who have proficiency with the following Microsoft Excel skills. Using pivot tables. Managing data is simpler in Excel if you're able to master the art of pivot table. Pivot tables do automatic actions like sorting and averaging to help your sort out your data a little bit more quickly, using formulas that would otherwise take hours in order to do quick analysis. So familiarizing yourself with pivot tables would be a really good idea. Fill function. This skill allows you to duplicate one spreadsheet and apply its information to other spreadsheets automatically. It will also help you to quickly generate summary sheets. So fill function is another Microsoft Excel skill that would benefit you. Being able to use the formatting. There's no rule that says spreadsheets have to be ugly or boring. Spreadsheets that are formatted using consistent font sizing, brand-specific colors, and uniform spacing will be better received by colleagues and bosses. Beyond the basics of making them look nice, there's now a host of artful details anyone can apply to a spreadsheet to make it downright attractive. So not only are you going to be able to make it look professional, but you can kind of brighten it up with some artwork. Don't underestimate the power of well-placed dotted line divider or faded rainbow color schemes. So those are some of the things that people are looking for in the Excel department. For Microsoft Word skills, where email ends, Microsoft Word begins. For most written word communication in business, Microsoft Word is the system of choice. Most employers will seek candidates who are able to execute the following tasks in Microsoft Word. Formatting and page setup. Many people fuss with Microsoft Word, unable to grasp the basics of their sometimes difficult to use formatting and page setup functions. For employees to learn the basics of these functions, it's very important because this is their core to using Microsoft Office. Formatting can involve things like custom reusable headers, multiple columns, page numbering, and font and other color choices. Once you create something you like, you can save the template and reuse it again and again. Also, being able to use smart art and text boxes. Word is great for more than text-based documents. It's also useful for things like flyers and signage. Word makes it easy now, but it's only easy if you know how to use these features. Shapes and text boxes can and times be unwieldy because they don't like to overlap and can sometimes jump around the page. But once you get the hang of it, you'll understand the quirks to that, and you'll be a master of that. If you prefer not to use Photoshop or you don't have access to it, Microsoft Word is a great alternative for simple visual design projects using images, shapes, colors, and other design elements. So those are some of the Microsoft Word top things that employers are looking for. As far as PowerPoint skills, things that you should know for that. PowerPoint is a presentation software. It enables the designer to create handsome custom slides. Employers will seek candidates who can put together a presentation in PowerPoint. PowerPoint has a lot of default features like shadows and sounds, and someone adept to PowerPoint will know which automatic qualities to remove. As much, they'll know which features to add in. Working with custom slides and templates is a very big important thing with PowerPoint. Someone adept in PowerPoint will be able to create an attractive slide from scratch, understanding the basic design elements of composition, color, and balance. A successful candidate will also be able to input new data into an existing template. Being able to understand animation in PowerPoint. Adding animations to text and images adds a layer of excitement to each slide. Animations allows elements on the page to zoom or fade in and out. Employers will prefer candidates who are able to tastefully and thoroughly use this fun feature. Working with Microsoft Office can be fun and rewarding. Microsoft Office skills come in handy in just about any role, but especially a workplace environment where administrative tasks will be valued. Brush up on your skills and be prepared to talk about what you can do with Microsoft Office in your next interview. So some of the Microsoft Office programs that are available out there, are Access, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, Publisher, Word. They do have Office for Android, Office for iPad, Office for iPhone. You can get involved with OneDrive, OneNote, and Office 360. Here is a list of Microsoft Office skills. We went over some of the top skills, but these are some other ones. Being able to analyze tables, auto reply, calendars, CC and BCC, charts, being able to configure email settings, create an electronic business card, create and send email messages, create and manage comments, create databases, create documents, create forms, create labels, create presentations, create queries, create slideshows, create spreadsheets, create tables, create templates, data analysis, databases, email filters, emailing documents, formatting tables, formulas, functions, grammar check, insert hyperlinks, mail merge, manage junk mail, manage folders, page setup, plan meetings, printing, scheduling, sending attachments, set up email signatures, sharing documents, spell check, text formatting, track changes, and being able to use templates. How to use the skills list. That was the list I just gave you. Use the skills mentioned here as you create your resume or cover letter, as you search for jobs. During your interview, be prepared to discuss the features you're familiar with and what you're able to do. Each job will require different skills and experiences, so make sure you read the job description carefully and focus on the skills listed by the employer. Wow, this was a lot of information in just the last 2 slides, and it's going to continue into the next one. But I just want to make sure that I hit every basis when it comes to being able to get that job and being on the hunt for a job. If you're in a dead end and you just feel like you keep applying and nothing's getting better, I'm hoping that this class is going to help you understand what they're actually looking for to kind of help you get along. So take some time. If you didn't grasp all this in one setting, you can go ahead and re-listen to this over and over. You can also get online and look up job skills checklists and see what you are adept in, and see what you'd be able to bring into the employer. So I hope this is helpful.
Okay, before we get on to a site that's actually going to help us explore some job searching, I kind of wanted to go a little bit into what we just talked about a minute ago. Typing skills are a must. Employers want to know how fast you can type while maintaining accuracy. The faster that you can type, the better your chances are of being a productive employee. Those who can type more than 40 words per minute without making more than one error stand the best chance of attaining a job where typing skills are required. Being familiar with the internet. If you can type, it is probable that you can send and receive emails and appear professional while doing so. However, do you know how to navigate the internet to research subjects quickly, use social media, run a website, create content that will be easy for online consumption? If not, you run the risk of being passed over for someone who is familiar with social media and basic website creation. What type of computer software are you familiar with? At a minimum, it is important that you have used Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, and other Windows programs. This is because everything from the company computer that you use to access your projects at work to the laptop you take home is typically going to run this software or similar types of software. You should expect to be tested when you apply for the job. Many employers will test your ability to use a computer and the software associated with the job that you will be asked to do. Some tests will be conducted during the interview, while other tests will be completed from home as part of the application process. What type of tests will you be asked to take? So first off, they're going to be asking you to take a typing test for speed and accuracy. An applicant will be asked to look at a text copy it as fast as possible. Applicants can expect to be given a specific amount of time to complete the test to determine the speed and accuracy of the applicant. If you don't finish the test, you may not be able to take it again. Microsoft Word and Excel tests, like I was telling you, potential employers are often tested on, employees rather, are often tested on their Microsoft Office suite skills. Sites such as proveit.com, which is PROVEIT.com, provide tests for employers, and many Fortunate 500 companies use them. Can you reformat a document to certain specifications? Do you know the most common shortcuts? A few online classes on these functions can help you keep up to date with the best way to use these essential pieces of software. And we do offer these stream classes for you as well, and it's free, doesn't cost you anything. SEO writing test. Applicants who are looking to find work as a writer or social media specialist may be asked to take an SEO test. The applicant will be asked to take this test to create a document that has certain keywords in it, a meta description, as well as other search engine friendly components may also have to be provided. Numeral key test is also important. Jobs that require a lot of numbers to be entered through a computer program may require that you show proficiency in numeric typing. In other words, you should know how to use a numeric pad, the 1 through 9 keys on the right side of your keyboard, if your keyboard has that. For many applicants, this will be the hardest test, as the typical computer user doesn't use the numeral keys as much as the rest of the keyboard. If you don't have the basic computer skills that employers need and want, it will be hard to find work. The good news is that many of these skills can be learned in a matter of days or weeks through cheap courses offered at community colleges or community centers. And actually, we offer to you free on our channel. Once you have mastered basics of typing, how to use the internet, and how to use common software such as Word and Excel, you will have increased the list of marketable skills that any employer will find useful. All right. So I just wanted to kind of get a little bit of that out of the way. Okay, so we are going to venture out to the internet now, and you can use Chrome, you can use Explorer, you can use Edge, you can use Firefox, you can use whatever you want. And so we're going to go ahead, and I'm just going to use Internet Explorer, make it a little easy on myself, and I've got Google. Now, the first thing I might want to do when I'm doing a job search is maybe just type in jobs in, I'm located in Columbia City, Indiana, so I'm just going to type that in. Jobs in Columbia City, Indiana. And this wants to take me to Indeed, which we're going to actually be looking at. So let's go ahead and get into Indeed. So you can kind of be a little bit more specific about what type of job you're looking for. Let's say you're looking to be a travel agent. And I would click Find Jobs. And this just tells you a little bit about and once you find a job that you might like, you can click on it, and it will give you a description of what that job actually is, and then allow you to apply for it. Just depends on what site you're on of how you're going to be able to apply for it. So you would just find whatever you're looking for, and here you can go into recent searches, Columbia City. Whatever they've got locations nearby me. Maybe I just am looking for part-time work. And over here on the side, I've got a bunch of different menu options I can go with, and things along those lines. So this is just one form. You can also go to monster.com. Monster.com helps you find a job as well. And I'm going to go just stay with my travel agent idea. And I'm going to click search here. And this is letting me know that there's really not a whole lot going on here. So maybe we want to, let's choose Fort Wayne instead. I'm close to Fort Wayne here. All right, so they got 66 jobs in the travel agent field. So I can kind of go in here and just determine what's going to look good for me here. I can just do part-time, and then it's going to resubmit what I have here. I would be able to, if I go to account, I can log in, I can sign up. I'd be able to post my resume to here as well as Indeed. So let's go back to Indeed real quick. In Indeed, I'm able to sign up. I can upload my resume, which is going to make things a lot more helpful for me. I'm going to go back to my normal Google search engine. And I'm going to go in and type in the same thing I did a minute ago and see what we get. So as you can see, finding a job really isn't all that hard. The Post and Mail's our local paper here, so you could look in your local paper. We've also got Career Builder. Let's take a look in Career Builder. Very similar to all the rest of them, where you can upload your resume, you can sign in, you can post a job if you are an employer looking for employees. You can decide how far out you're willing to go, whether you're wanting full-time, part-time, and it's kind of taking you as close as it can here. So you kind of get the idea of how the job searching goes. And it really isn't that complicated. We're going to be working on our resume here after a while, but for now, why don't you go ahead and minimize this and kind of just get on the internet and just kind of search around to different kinds of searching job locations that you can find. So you can just go into Google and just type in jobs in, I'm just going to use Indiana because that's where I live. And they've got the monster.com. They've got the personnel job bank for the school system here. Indiana Jobs Career Builder. They got jobs from the Indiana State Library. So if you're interested in being a library person, this might just be for you. And you could go do that through the Indiana State Library. So there are several ways that you can search for a job. They have Indiana.gov jobs. And then, of course, some of these advertisement type jobs. So why don't you right now go ahead and minimize this and get into your search engine and start searching around and seeing what you can find. All right, so we are going to take a look at not only those stream classes that I've been talking about, but we're also going to take a look at A to Z databases so you have a little bit better understanding. So up here, I'm going to type in www.ppl.lib.in.us. You can also go to your search engine and type in Peabody Public Library, and that would get you there as well. So if I could type this morning, but I think it's going to be loading here. All right, so here we are, and we are actually on the Peabody Public Library's website here. And you can go into, we do have the one-on-one tech help, and that's what I'm talking about all the time. So you can go to the one-on-one tech help. It is whirling around up there, so it's just taking a moment to get going here. But then you would be able to get on there and see the technology classes on YouTube, and they're categorized for you. So this is all about free software and apps. This is all about general computer skills. So those are basically what we've been talking about, as well as Microsoft Office skills and tablets and smartphones. But what I want to look at right now is A to Z databases. So if I go to all of our online resources, I can go to A to Z databases. And A to Z databases allows me to find a job. It has a find a job section right in here. It does use Indeed.com. So I could be looking up some type of a job, and I'm just going to go with that same travel agent that I have been working with. And I can decide if I want it to be part-time, full-time, and then I can click on search. By clicking search, it's going to let them know that I kind of want to look around here. So they don't really have a whole lot of jobs for that. So let me go back and pick something different. How about administrative assistant? I should get quite a few of those. There we go. All right, so it's going to do it probably within a 35-mile radius. I can actually go in and change my radius of farther, closer, however I want to do that in the advanced search feature. But here I'm able to, so let's just click on the very first one that's on here. This is an administrative assistant position. It tells you about the position. You can view or apply for the job right from here. It looks like this will shoot you out to their actual website. Some of these you'll be able to just apply straight from your computer. Like right here, you can apply now for that. So you just click on apply now and you would put your name in as well as your email, your phone number, and I do not have a cover letter, and then you would just click apply. Now, I'm just going to click on save resume. Now it wants me to upload or build, but we're not quite ready for that. So we're going to go back to finding a job. So I can look in here. You can actually sign in, and I am signed in under my Indeed account, and you can create account for you as well. All right, there we go. So there's several types of jobs that you can look for on Indeed. What's nice about A to Z databases is you can also look for industries, and you can find a person. So you have quite a few options there that you can go with that will help you out. Oh, look, the Peabody Public Library is right on there. We do pay for the subscription, so this would be free to you. You just get on our website and be able to click on that and get in there. At this point, I'm not 100% sure. You may have to be in the library in order to activate this, but if you're using Indeed.com, you should be just fine. And don't forget that we do have all of those streamed classes that you can watch on YouTube. Now, if you're looking for the technology part of it, then it would, or the computer type skills. So if you just wanted to do PowerPoint Basic, you could push on that. It'll just take you straight out to YouTube. And now you're going to be watching about some PowerPoint Basics. And so forth and so on. So it continues, and you can watch this at your own pace. You don't have to watch it all in one setting, but you know that because you're watching this one right now. So you would be able to go in there and watch what you want. So I'm hoping that this is a better understanding of some job searching. We've already looked at some other job searching, and this is just another way of doing it. So good luck out there. It's a hard market, and I'm definitely here for you. So if you need any assistance or help, please get in contact with me.
What is a resume and why do you need one when you're job searching? A resume is a written compilation of your education, work experience, credentials, and accomplishments. Most professional positions require applicants to submit a resume and cover letter as part of their application process. In many cases, your resume is the first document a hiring manager will look at when reviewing your application, and therefore is a true first impression. Accordingly, it's important to put time and effort into developing and maintaining an updated, accurate resume. Whether you are writing your first resume or you haven't updated yours in a while and it needs refreshing, we're going to go through some step-by-step guides to help writing a resume that will help you get the job that you want. So first off, you want to review the purpose of the resume. Think of a resume as self-advertisement. That sums up your experience on one page. Your resume is one of the most important pieces of your job application. It gives the hiring manager an overview of the qualifications you have for the job for which you're applying. You should also familiarize with the difference between a resume and a cover letter. A resume is typically sent with a cover letter, which is a document that provides additional information on your skills and experience in letter form. A resume is a concise, often bulleted summary, while a cover letter highlights and expands on certain traits or accomplishments that would be unique or ideal assets for the particular job. Start by doing a brain dump of your experience. An effective resume lays out a summary of qualifications that will push the hiring manager or employer to move forward and invite you to an interview for the position. As well as details on skills, education, and work history, resumes can also have optional sections such as objective, summary statement, skills, or career highlights. Those sections can be added after you've compiled all the factual information you need to list on your resume. For many people, it can be helpful to sit down with a pen and paper or a blank Word document and jot down their work history from start to finish. Of course, if you have been in the workforce for many years, this is not going to be time efficient, so you may choose to focus on your most prominent and relevant positions. Make sure to make a list of your work experience. No matter your approach, your goal will be to produce a chronological list of experience that is relevant to the jobs you're applying to. Although this should focus on professional work experience, you can also include awards or volunteer or community experience, post-grad coursework and skills, as well as your college education, which can move to the bottom of your resume once you get your first job after college. When you're working on your brain dump, make sure to include the name of the company, its location, dates of employment, and several bullet points describing your role and responsibility for each position you list. Although you may need to expand on the bullet points later on, you'll need this information at the minimum. Make sure to focus on your achievements. When writing the descriptions for jobs you've held, focus on what you've accomplished in each position rather than what you did. Listing qualifiable achievements in a numerical manner will help your resume stand out. What to leave off of your resume. There are some things that don't belong on a resume for a job. What you exclude is just as important as what you include. Ideally, your resume should reflect experience that is relevant to the job you are applying, and typically no more than 10 to 15 years in the past. Since your resume should, if possible, be no longer than 1 or 2 pages, you may need to nix certain items. For example, if you took a job and only stayed there for a month or so, you wouldn't want to include that position. If you've been out of college for more than 5 years, it's generally best to remove any internships you've had, assuming you have had other professional work experience to fill the gap. However, this is a case where you'll want to use your common sense. If you went to college for marketing and had a marketing internship your senior year, then worked as a server for the next several years, you would want to include your marketing internship. Ultimately, you want to try to strike a balance between including experience that is both timely and relevant. Choosing a resume style. There are several basic types of resumes used to apply for job openings. Before you spend time writing up all the details around each position you've had, you should decide what style of resume to use, as that can affect how you describe, organize, and list your experience, education, skills, qualifications, and other credentials for employment. Your options would include chronological, the most common resume type in which you list your work experience in reverse chronological order from the most to the least recent. Functional. A functional resume focuses on your skills and abilities rather than your work history. Combination. This type of resume lists your skills and experience before your employment history. So which resume type is right for you? Which resume type should you use for your job search? That depends on what you're trying to accomplish. The goal of any resume is to show a hiring manager the applicant's strengths, skills, and experience in as short a time as possible. According to one study, recruiters spend as little as 6 seconds reviewing a resume before moving on to the next. So it's in your best interest to put your finest qualities and accomplishments in a prominent position on the page. In addition, functional or combination resumes may also be useful if you're trying to draw the reader's attention away from something, namely like large gaps in your work history or detours into unrelated fields. Start compiling your resume. Once you've decided on a resume type, it's time to start writing your resume. You don't have to start from scratch. First, review examples of resume types you've selected, then choose a template, which you can copy and paste into a document, and then fill it in with your own history. Regardless of type of resume you choose, aim to tailor your resume to the job you are applying to. While it's perfectly acceptable to use a resume template, which you adapt to fit each job description, it's a bad idea to send the same exact resume to multiple openings even within the same field. Your goal should be to write your resume with both robots and humans in mind. Many organizations use applicant tracking systems to sort and vet resumes before hiring managers ever take a look at them. This means that you could have the best experience and qualifications in a whole field of candidates and a pretty decent resume besides, but your information will fall through the cracks if your resume doesn't contain the right keywords. Good keywords will refer not only to your experience, but to the job description in the posting as well. Make sure to format your resume. Once you have written and organized your information according to the type of resume you have chosen, be sure to format it accordingly, according to typical professional standards. You should use consistent spacing throughout and evenly sized margins on all sides if possible. It's generally best to stick to your word processor's default settings, but in some cases, if you shrink the margins on the left, right, top, and bottom, this can help buy more space to fit your resume into one page. Although visual or infographic resumes have become trendy in some industries, it is also a safe bet to stick with traditional formatting. White page, black text, readable font. Choose a basic font such as Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri, Helvetica, or Georgia. Ideally, your font size should be no longer than 12 and no smaller than 10.5. Even if you are only sending in copies digitally, it's a good idea to print your resume, as it's possible that hiring managers may be doing so. Be sure it prints on single page and is easy to read in printed form. Reading over a printed copy of your resume will also help you ensure that there is plenty of white space on the page and it looks professional. Proofread, and then proofread again. Not even professional proofreaders can easily proofread their own work. Once you've made a typo, it's hard to catch it yourself. For that reason, it's a good idea to have one or two trusted friends take a look at your resume before you send it in for consideration. We're going to actually take a look at a resume proofreading checklist here in just a little bit when we're actually building our resume. And then ask someone else to give it a final review to be sure it's perfect before you click send or upload to apply for a job. Think of your resume as a living document. In the short term, you should tweak your resume based on each job you apply to. For example, if one position you're applying to seems to weigh a certain responsibility or focus over another, you should be sure your resume conveys your expertise in this area. At the same time, you should be updating your resume with your experience as it develops, adding any new skills you've learned, courses you've taken, or rewards you've won. It is much easier to update your resume periodically than all at once. So even when you're employed, set a reminder to refresh your resume every 3 months while the information is still fresh in your head. This will make your make your next job search much easier, should you decide to switch companies or careers in the future. So we're going to also take a look at some different steps to build a resume, and we're going to do that on our next slide. But this helps to keep yours current and ready to send if you get a call from a recruiter or find a job that you'd love to be hired for and want to apply for it right away. So these are really, really great, some really great advice as far as building a resume and how you should go about it and what you're doing. We're actually going to get on here and practice some resume templates and look at a resume building proofreading type checklist and see if yours meets the standards for that. This way you know where you are and what you need to fix. So hopefully this was helpful and beneficial. If you need any further assistance, please get in contact with me. Let's take a look at making our own resume now. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to post the resume proofread checklist, and this is quite lengthy. This is just one of 3 slides that includes your proofreading when it comes to your resume and being able to submit that into your employers. So we're going to start with spelling mistakes. You definitely don't want to use any words in which you're really not very familiar with, just because sometimes they can be used out of context. So if you think you may know uh, a word or so, and you're not using it correctly, that isn't such a great thing when it comes to professionalism. So make sure that you use a dictionary as you write to make sure that you're spelling things correctly. Uh, knowing the difference between there, and there. Um, your conjunctions for do not and don't and cannot and can't and things along those lines. So make sure you use your dictionary. Definitely perform a spell check on your finished resume. So while you're in there actually performing it, it's only a one-click process, so you might as well just click on the spell checker and let it go ahead and check what it needs to make sure that you are spelling things correctly. Carefully read every word in your resume. If you write from instead of form, your spell check will be unable to detect your mistakes. So, if the word is actually spelled correctly, but it's just um, not the right word, your spell checker is not going to pick that up. So, you need to make sure that you are actually spelling the words correctly, like from and form. And there's a lot of combination of words that this would play into. It's actually, if you did form instead of from, according to the spell checker, it is not a misspelled word, so it's not going to be picked up. So you want to make sure that you're definitely proofreading that. Have a friend or two proofread your resume for you. So we've already discussed how important that is. Punctuation mistakes, you want to check for periods at the end of all full sentences. Make sure that that you have a space between that period and the next sentence coming up, as well as a capital letter. So be consistent in the use of your punctuation. Always put periods and commas within quotation marks. So, for instance, won awards including the John H. Malcolm Memorial Service Award. You want to make sure that you're putting in the proper punctuation in that. And avoid using exclamation points. Exclamation point, as we all know, means that we are shouting out loud, and sometimes we don't need to. So, just be careful with that. Some grammatical mistakes you could look for. Do not switch tenses within your resume. Be sure they are consistent for each job you list. The duties you currently perform should be in present tense. Write reports. But ones you may have performed at past jobs should be in past tense. Wrote reports. So current would be writing. Past would be I have written or I have wrote those before. So just pay attention to your grammar. Capitalize all proper nouns. When expressing numbers, write out all numbers between 1 and 9, but use numerals for all numbers 10 and above. Okay? It's just a trick of the trade. I'm sure these are probably things you didn't even think about, but it is part of trick of the trade there. If you begin a sentence with a numeral, spell out the numeral. 11 service awards won while employed. Things like that. So if you're just using it as a number, but you're not starting a sentence with it, then as long as it's below or above 10, you would just put the number in. But if you're actually starting out a sentence, you would want the numeral spelling and not the actual number. Make sure your date formats are consistent. So you don't want a bunch of different dates. You need to choose one and stick with it. Okay? So we're going to go on to the next. So some more proof checklist items for your resume. Check for the word usage. Be on the lookout for the following easily confused words. These are words that we use all the time, but sometimes we may not be using them correctly. Knowing which accept you're supposed to use. The ACC form of accept is actually to receive something, whereas the accept EXC form is to actually exclude it. So you need to know the forms. All right, which is ALL spaced with the word right, means that it's all correct. And all right, this is not a word. So be careful with that. And don't use that form of it, okay? And then you've got affect. This is to bring about change. This will affect everything that we do. as well as effect, which is the result of something. So understanding the differences between those. One of the hardest languages is the English language, just because we have so many words that are sound the same but are spelled differently and mean something different. So personal is something private, whereas personnel is a staff member. So make sure you get those right. Role is a character. So if you're role playing in something, you're acting as though you're a character assigned to a function of some sort. But to roll with something is to revolve. Okay. So just make sure that you're understanding words that are confusing. Use action words, wrote reports, increased revenues, directed staff. Check dates, contact information, abbreviation, and spacing. Check dates of all prior employment. Check your address and phone number. Are they still current and correct? Check the number of spaces separating your categories. Are they consistent? Check abbreviations of state names. All state abbreviations are 2 letters, no periods. For example, New York is abbreviated NY. California is CA, and Florida is FL. Look up other state abbreviations if you need to, okay? So this is checking for word usage and contact information, checking dates, abbreviations, and spacing. Let's go on to the next. And our last slide for the resume proofreading checklist. Resume design is definitely important. Don't overcrowd your resume. Allow for plenty of white space, okay? So don't overdo it or make the font so small you can't read it. Keep your resume to 1 page whenever possible. I know sometimes that's a little hard, especially if we have a lot of skills, but do the best that you can. Keep the number of fonts you use to a minimum, 2 at the most, okay? Use a font that is easy to read. Do not justify the lines of type on your resume. Allow the right side of the page to rag. So definitely use a font that's easy to read, okay? That's the basis of that. Do not overuse capitalization, italics, underlines, or other emphasizing features. Make sure your name, address, phone number, and email address appear on your resume in all correspondence, preferably at the top of the page. So technically, when you first start out your resume, that's one of the first things that they're going to see. For paper resume, print your resume on white or cream paper using a good quality printer. Print on one side of the paper only. So if you have more than 1 page, you would want to include 2 pages and not do a double-sided. What to omit from a resume. You want to omit any kind of salary history. You don't want to have that in there. You don't really need to tell them about your sex, age, race, marital status, or other similar personal information. That isn't really legal for them to ask you a lot of that. So I wouldn't be volunteering information if I didn't have to. So make sure you've got a good resume design in play, and make sure that you're omitting things that you really don't need. I'm really hoping that this checklist is going to help you out and benefit you, because it really is kind of important if we're really not sure where we want to go with this, how we can kind of go. So, or how it will lead us to go, rather. So take some time and look over these resume proofreading checklists. You can also get on the internet and just type in resume proofreading checklists, and you will get quite a few of them to help you out. So definitely take a look at those.
Okay, so now we're going to get started on building our own resume and some different kinds of templates. First off, I'm just on Google to get us started. However, I'm going to go over to Microsoft Office and go into Word. And then we're going to check out Publisher. Now in Word, we can go to File. We can go to New. And in New, we can see what kind of templates they may have available for this. This is Available Templates. And we're going to go to Resume and Cover Letters. Go ahead and get those all loaded up. Hopefully you can see this well enough. And they have tons of different types of templates that you could choose from. Here's a nice functional cover letter that would include you just plopping in what it is exactly you want it to say. Going back to New and Resumes and Cover Letters. Here's that chronological resume they were talking about, to where you could put things in order. So that's a really good one to use. Here's a functional resume that they were talking about and it's just everything laid out for you. So you just put your information in on all of this. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Let's see. Chronological, functional, they have lots of them. Transferring companies, photo type resumes, black tie type resumes, chronological, functional, cover letter. I mean, there's just tons of different templates that you can actually use. I really, really liked that one we were just on, though, with the entering. Here's a different type of chronological. That one's quite large, but you would just fill in these blanks. So that's very, very beneficial for sure. Let's see. Now we can actually go to, let me close out of all these. We can go to Google and take a look and see what kind of, let's see, resume templates. We can see what kind of templates are out there. I'm just going to go to images for now so we can kind of get an idea. Let's see. There's lots of different kinds. So we can view this image just to kind of see if it's, well, that image isn't very big. Actually, let's just go back to the normal search of all and build a resume in 15 minutes. Sounds good to me. So we click on that. I'm just doing the Resume Genius. I just pushed one of the very first things on Google. Build a resume now. So going through this, I can actually select what kind of template I'm going to want to have. Let's see what other kinds they have here. These are all different. So let's go with this. I'm going to select this template. And now you start to build. So I'm going to enter in my first name. I am in Columbia City. Oops, it already knew that by me putting in, actually, yeah, it's fine. We'll just put this in instead. And in my email. My fingers are going a little bit faster than me today. All right, here we go. Register for a free account, so we can go ahead and create an account with them. That way we would be able to access, save and activate. So now I'm going to enter in my employment history. I am currently working at the Peabody Public Library. I am in, oh no, there we go. I don't know what happened. All right, let's try that again. And I'm in computers. Oh, here we go. So if I click on that, then I get a little thing that comes up. I was looking for computers, but I think education will work. So I'm just filling in all of my fields. My position title, I am the technology trainer. I have worked here for a zillion years, and I still work here. Enter a job keyword. And then so I can put in a trainer. Let's see what we get. Athletic computer support specialist, training and development. I will use that one. There we go. Oversees daily performance of computer system, answers user inquiries. Yep, I do that. Enter commands and observe system functions, set up equipment. I do that. Minor repairs. Maintain records of daily communication. So you would just go through here and click on the items that pertain to what you're doing. So I think that's probably good. My responsibilities, I teach the public how to use devices, and I teach computer classes. All right. Review your responsibilities. So you could come in here. All right, so these look like some reviews and responsibilities. So if I went into edit, I could actually start to come in here and type in different kinds of responsibilities that I have with that job. Working with the public is a very big one. But I could continue to do that as far as I needed and save and continue. Now it's going to kind of give me a, this is what you have. Now I can go ahead and add a new position within this company, which I've had several. I've been here for 12 years, so I have had several, but I'm just going to move on. And with our education, then you could type in where you graduated from high school. And I'm from the great city of Indianapolis, so I am not still in high school. I graduated, yes. I graduated in May of 93. Don't judge me. I know you are. All right, so I'm going to see a preview of that. And it's showing me that's how it's going to look on my resume. Now I can go in and I can add a college and get all that added as well. Any information that I want to say about my school and things along those lines. So I can save and continue. Save and continue. So then this would just be additional skills. And if I don't have any, then I'll just save and continue. So this is what, as of right now, my resume would actually look like. However, you could come in here and pick something else as well to get your, and it has them all listed out. So that's just one kind that you can go on. Let's get out of this, and I'm going to take you into, oops. I'm going to take you in and let you kind of look at another one. I think on A to Z databases, when we went through that, I'm not sure. I don't think I went through the resume process. So let's go to A to Z databases. You can find that on our website at www.ppl.lib.in.us. And there it is there. I am going to go to all online resources under my research tab. And over here on the right hand side, I can go to A to Z databases, and now it's going to shoot me out to A to Z databases. And now under find a job, I can do cover letters, resumes, and tips. And while I'm in here, you can do the homework. So know your strengths and weaknesses, 4 keys to knowing. So if I click on that, it's going to shoot me out to 4 keys to knowing my strengths and weaknesses. What is your personality? Take action. It has a lot of awesome things that you can do on there. 3 is the magic number, how to summarize your skill set. So it's going to help you kind of guide you through that as well. And the right company, is it for you? So these are some other links for that. Now, when you go to actually apply for the job, they have the 2 key words employers look for on a resume, and they have a nice little cartoon down here. But here is some of the key words that they may be looking for: management skills, communication skills, and creativity skills. But you can kind of read a little bit more on that. So if I go back, I can go to resume and cover letters. There's different types of templates I can use on here. So let's just go with style A. Actually, let's look at the example of style A. as soon as it comes up, which assuming that it will. There we go. Here's style A, so you can kind of see if that's going to work for you. If it does not, then you can move on to the different styles. This is a functional. Actually, this is a chronological, this is a functional, and here's your plain arrangement. So you could go in and just kind of look at those, and these are the templates for you to be able to fill in the information yourself. Looks like it opens it up in Microsoft Word. So we'll kind of give that a minute to load for us here. Maybe it's thinking about it. But you can also get those cover letters down here as well. They have templates and examples of the cover letters as well as the resumes. Oh, here we go. So here's one of those templates that you'd be able to fill in through A to Z databases. And then you would just save it as a Word document. And then, of course, our reference sheet, and you can actually print this. Okay. There's also 3 keys to using A to Z databases to connect with hiring managers. So it tells you about all of that. And acing the interview. So once you've actually got that application in there, you've gotten your resume sent out, now it's time to get ready for the interview process. So it kind of goes through the 4 tough questions that employers are asking. And all of this stuff is printable through our website. So you'd be able to print this. Tell me about yourself. Why did you leave your previous job? What is your range of salary? And where do you see yourself in 5 years? So those are the 4 questions. Excuse me. 10 questions every employee should ask their employer. So it's not just you that should be getting all the questions. I'm sure you probably have questions for the employer as well. There is a video how to interview, and it looks like it's only about 3 minutes. So let's take this 3 minutes. Oops. And watch this.
Boy, it's just about time for my 2 o'clock interview to come.
Hi, are you Mark?
I am.
Hi, Mark. I'm Tisha.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice
Have
to
a
meet
seat.
you too. Thank you. Here's a copy of my resume for you.
Oh, thank you. That's great. I'm glad you brought a copy along. It always helps when a candidates bring their resume because, sometimes I don't get the chance to print that off in advance of the meeting. So thank you for doing that. What do you know about our company?
Well, I know that Database USA is a database company, and what it does is help other companies market their businesses and bring in more consumers for themselves.
Right. That's a great summary of what we do here. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I have a master's degree, and I've been in the business world for a while. My recent position was at a bank where I was a trainer, so I worked in the corporate training office.
Why did you leave your last job?
I was just looking for something, a smaller based company, a little more family oriented, something that would, maybe a company I could grow more quickly in.
Right.
Instead of being a fish in a large sea of fishes, I wanted to be someone who could stand out.
So a little more opportunity you're looking for, maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years?
2 to 5 years, I just want to be in a position where I can fully know the background and basis of the company and be a subject matter expert for the company and kind of see where my opportunities lead me there.
Right. A lot of people don't realize that it takes 2 to 5 years to really learn a business and the company well. So what are your pet peeves?
I don't really have pet peeves. I guess if I was going to choose one, it would be I prefer when people have something they'd like to discuss with me. They come discuss it with me so we can close the matter of whatever's bothering someone at that time and move on.
Right. So maybe better than hidden agendas or that kind of thing. Yeah. And what would be your ideal job?
My ideal job is really a lot of different things. I want to be able to take my knowledge that I've learned in 2 to 5 years and help others learn that. So whether it be in a management job or a training position again or something like that.
Okay, sure. And can I ask, what are you looking for in compensation?
I'm really negotiable in my compensation. I currently do make a certain amount. I would like to reach that certain amount. However, I'm negotiable.
Okay.
Depending on, I want to meet those opportunities
Right.
where I want to be in the future.
Right, okay. And, well, do you have any questions for me?
I do. What is your ideal candidate?
Well, we're looking for people with flexibility, people who have some amount of background experience and knowledge that we can put into the various roles that we have in the company. Because we're a smaller company, we want people that are able to do different jobs as the need arises. So that's one of our key criteria when we look for candidates.
Okay, great, great. And do you know when you'd like to see this position filled, or?
Well, we're interviewing a number of candidates right now. I would expect that within the next 2 weeks or so that we'd be able to nail it down pretty well. And yeah, so you should be hearing back from us in like a 1 to 2 week time frame.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time today,
Yeah.
Mark, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. She seemed to be a pretty good candidate. We'll leave her on the list for good consideration.
All right, that was a pretty good interview. Let's see what the other video has for us. How not to interview. That was how to interview. This is how not to interview.
Boy, I wonder where she is. Huh, nothing like showing up on time.
Okay, yeah. Yep, I'll be there. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, bye.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
Here, have a seat. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
What do you know about our company?
Not much, really. I just figured you would tell me more about it today.
Yeah, well, we are a database company and we're looking for good people, and we've got a lot of different positions that we're looking to fill. But can you tell me about yourself?
Sure. I'm pretty easygoing. I like to get along with others. I have lots of friends. I went river rafting. I'm adventurous. We had a great time this weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Why did you leave your last job?
I left my last job because I just hated my manager. He was terrible, and if I didn't go, I was going to end up killing him. It was just horrible.
Right. Where do you see yourself in 2 to 5 years?
I'm in a management position for sure because managers, they just sit around and don't do a whole lot, and they just tell everybody else what to do, and I would kind of like to see myself in that position.
Okay. Right. And yeah. What are your pet peeves?
People, kind of. They bug me. But my pet peeves are other people asking me to do their job or their work.
Yeah, right.
I don't like to help others. I just like to do my own job. That's why that's why I go to work, do my own job.
Your own job, okay. So then what would be your ideal job?
My ideal job is where I come in, I do my job, I tell everybody else what to do, and I sit in my office and just make sure everybody else is working.
Okay. Right, yeah. And how about compensation? What are you looking for in compensation?
Well, I've been interviewing in a lot of places, and I'm just really looking to see who's going to give me the most money for the experience that I have.
Well, yeah, all right. Do you have any questions for me?
What does this job pay? What kind of money do you pay?
Well, it really depends upon the exact position that we put you in, as well as your experience, those kind of things. So it's really a number of factors.
When will I hear from you?
Well, we like to get back to people generally maybe a 1 to 2 weeks time frame is what it would take.
Okay, well, I'll call you. I'll call you too.
Yeah, or we can be in touch with you. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Well, there is a candidate we can wipe off the list.
And if you notice, she was chewing gum the entire time as well, so that's a no-no. Don't want to go into a job interview chewing gum, that's for sure. But anyway, then you've got some interview thank you templates and 3 post interviews. But A to Z Databases is a great resource for cover letters, resumes, and tips, and you can find that under Find a Job, covers, cover letters, resume, and tips. Right there is your link. So I hope this was helpful and beneficial on building a resume. We were able to go through some, show you some different templates, how you can find them, and even get some great advice on how we should be interviewing and not interviewing. So hopefully you get that job.
Okay, so now I'm going to touch base with you on a little bit of a touchy subject, and that is actually if you already have a job and you're kind of in the job market and you're wanting to find another one, doing the right thing about leaving your current job, just not doing it the wrong way. So I'm going to talk to you about tips for the best way that you can quit your job, as well as the top 10 warning signs that you might need a new job. We're also going to talk about weighing out the options, making sure to give adequate notice, quitting gracefully, what to say to your boss, ask for a reference, don't forget the details, make sure you return company property, and the do's and don'ts. So turning in your resignation or quitting a job isn't always easy, even if you hate your job or boss and can't wait to start that new job. Even if you're about to be fired, it can be difficult to resign tactfully. If you are considering resigning or quitting from a job, here are some important points to think about, to think through before you turn in your resignation. First off, be sure that you really do want to quit. So I do have a top 10 warning signs that it's time to look for a new job. So are you having a tough time at work? Do you simply not want to be there anymore? Are you thinking about quitting your job but not sure if you should? It might be time to consider whether you need a new job or it's just time to move on. Sometimes we wait too long to recognize that a job situation is not a good fit, but waiting can have negative consequences. It can be easier to stay, especially when you get along well with your colleagues but aren't thrilled with the job. However, sometimes it's a good idea to make the difficult decision that you need a change. Of course, most people can't afford to leave a bad job at the drop of a hat, but delaying too long can be detrimental to yourself and to others. When's the best time to leave, and how do you know when you should make that decision to start a new job search? Are you waiting too long to move on? Staying isn't always the right decision, even when it's not easy to leave. Waiting too long to find a new job can cause serious stress, resulting in depression, relationship problems, and residual anger. If you don't appropriately plan your resignation, you may find yourself at your wit's end one day and end up quitting on the spot, which will ruin your chances to maintain a positive relationship with your past employer. Or worse, you could end up getting fired because you're not being productive. So here are the top 10 warning signs that you may need to find a new job. You can prevent these possibilities by recognizing some of the signs that your job is unsustainable before the situation reaches a crisis status. You are already thinking about finding a new job. Bearing the occasion, bad day induced, I need a new job now. If you've already been mulling over the thought of leaving your job, chances are it's going to happen for a good reason for you. If you dislike your job, your coworkers, your boss is constantly on your mind, you should take that as a sign that it's time to start job searching. Your conversations with your family and friends become dominated by complaints and laments about your workday. If every dinner conversation starts and ends with negative commentary about your day at work, it might be time to find a job that will incite not complaints, but instead productive discussion about your personal challenges, lessons learned, and the day's highlights. You find yourself frequently dreaming about retirement, even if you're young. Do you spend all day dreaming about retirement, calculating the years, months, days until the time comes? Don't spend your professional life in countdown mode. Instead, take that feeling and use it as a motivation to find a position that is satisfying and emotionally fulfilling. If your sleep patterns have been interrupted or disrupted, you have difficulty getting to sleep, or you wake up during the night with worries about your job, sleep is very important to your health, and job-induced stress can cause very poor sleep. Unfortunately, this can excalibrate a different situation, making a bad job seem even worse. Being tired all the time can make everything seem like a challenge. You have developed headaches, frequent colds, or other physical symptoms of stress. Your physical health can sometimes be an indicator of your mental health. And if you're feeling generally sick or have a sense of enduring sickness, your job might be to blame. If your job is making you sick, that's a good indicator that it's time to probably look for a new position. If you have increased your consumption of alcohol or drugs to escape your problems, while it's okay to relax with a glass of wine after work, your day shouldn't be driving you to down a bottle or pour glass after glass after glass of vodka and tonics. If you find that your work is causing your consumption of alcohol, drugs, or cigarettes, you should take some time to reflect on your professional situation. If your appetite is suppressed or you're eating more than usual, some people turn to food in the same way they do to drugs and alcohol, but stress can also cause you to lose your appetite overall. If you're eating or drinking too much because of stress at work, it's a sign that it may not be the job for you. You dread Mondays, or you have trouble waking up for work in the morning. It's normal to be tired in the morning, but you shouldn't feel a pit-inducing dread of thought-consuming anxiety when it's time for work. So, number 9, if you are less productive at work, lack passion, or are bored most often. If you're checking Facebook every 10 minutes, playing around with Pinterest, constantly finding yourself on YouTube, or are bored with every task, you might need to look for a more mentally stimulating job. You are arguing more often with coworkers or bosses and don't feel you have control over your work. This is your final warning tip. If your dissatisfaction with your job is causing tension in the office, it's definitely time to start looking for a new position. It's better to leave a job on good terms so you can keep your past employer as a resource for recommendations and as a network connection. It's also important to avoid being fired if you can help it. Of course, these signs can be indicators of other personal, emotional, or physical problems, but if you are stressed about work and experiencing some of these symptoms, then you certainly need to reevaluate your employment situation. So what do you do next? If you've made the decision to move on, don't just quit your job. In most cases, you can carefully and strategically start looking for a new position before you turn in your resignation. It's easier to get hired when you're working. You don't know how long it will take to find another job, and you may not be able to collect unemployment benefits if you quit. Rather, take the time to plan your job search. In addition to getting you out of that bad situation, it will give you something else to focus on instead of the job you're not happy with. So, I'm going to talk to you about the tips for the best way to quit your job. If you are certain that you want to quit, handle your resignation as carefully as you would handle any other business endeavor. It's always wise to not burn bridges. You never know when you may need your past employers for a reference. So you definitely want to review your resignation pros and cons, and I do have a little story to tell you. Before you make the decision to quit, be absolutely sure that this is the right decision for you. So my story is an employee once called someone I know the day after she started her new job. She really hated it, regretting resigning and wanted to come back. But by the time they had heard from her, they had already filled the position and she was out of luck. So you need to keep that in mind as well. If you're not sure about the position you're considering taking, ask if you can spend a day in the office shadowing the staff. It may reinforce your decision to take the position or help you decide if you want that new job after all. Definitely weigh out your options. Do you have another job offer? If so, weigh the pros and cons of the new position versus your current position. Consider the work environment, flexibility, salary, and benefits in addition to the job responsibilities. How about opportunities in advance? If the new job comes up ahead on all counts and you feel sure that this is the right change to make, don't hesitate. No new job on the horizon? Before you quit, consider the basics. It will take about 3 to 6 months, sometimes longer, to find a new job unless you quit for a good reason. You may not be eligible for unemployment benefits. Do you have enough savings or other income to manage financially? Even if your employment situation isn't the best, you might want to consider hanging on to the job you have as well as your paycheck and start your job search before you resign. The old saying that it's easier to find a job when you have a job does hold true. So definitely keep that in mind. You want to give adequate notice. If you have an employment contract that states how much notice you should give, abide by it. Otherwise, it's appropriate to offer 2 weeks' notice. However, in some cases, you feel that you are unable to stay for another couple of weeks. Here are some, I can go over some reasons that you can quit without notice. But quite honestly, I'm not even going to go there. You really should just be giving a 2-week notice. If you've gone that long, you could go another 2 weeks. You have no obligation to stay any longer, so keep that in mind. If your employer asks you to stay longer than 2 weeks or the time period in your contract, you have no obligation to stay. Your new employer will be expecting you to start as scheduled and in a timely manner. What you could do is offer to help your previous employer, if necessary, after hours via email or on the phone. So here's a way to quit gracefully. The formal way to resign is to write a resignation letter and to tell your supervisor in person that you're leaving. Don't send them texts or emails, if at all possible. However, depending on the circumstances, you may need to quit over the phone or quit via email. So if at all possible, you really should do it in person. Don't take the coward way out unless it's not feasible. If you're in one state and they're in another state and it's something along those lines, then okay. But if it's just a matter of not wanting to walk down the hallway because their office is down there, that's really not a very good reason not to see them in person. Make sure that you write a resignation letter. Regardless of how you resign, write a resignation letter. A resignation letter can help you maintain a positive relationship with your old employer while paving the way for your move on. You never know when you might need that old employer to give you a reference, so it makes sense to take time to write a polished and professional resignation letter. And you can actually get online and look up how you can do that. What to say to your boss. Don't say much more than you are leaving. Emphasize the positive and talk about how the company has benefited you, but also mention that it's time to move on. Offer to help during the transition and afterward. Don't be negative. There's no point. You're leaving and you want to leave on good terms. So they do have some tips online, what you can say to quit your job. And they also have lists of reasons for leaving your job. And you can also check out what not to say when you quit a job. So there's some different things that you can do on there. Ask for a reference. Before you leave, ask for a letter of recommendation from your manager. As time passes and people move on, it's easy to lose track of previous employers. With a letter in hand or LinkedIn recommendation online, you'll have documentation of your credentials to share with prospective employers. Don't forget the details. Find out about the employee benefits and salary you are entitled to receive upon leaving. Inquire about collecting unused vacation and sick pay, and keep cashing in or rolling over your 401k or other pension plans. You may be asked to participate in an exit interview prior to your departure. And there are some review sample exit interview questions online that you can get. And this would give you a great idea of what you'll be asked during that exit interview. Return company property. Return any company property you have, including keys, documents, computers, phones, and anything else that doesn't belong to you. The company doesn't want to chase you to get it back, and you don't want to be held responsible if it's not returned in a timely manner. So we're going to actually review the do's and don'ts of a resignation right now. How should you resign for a job? How about what you shouldn't do when turning in your resignation? There are good and not so good ways to resign. So we are going to talk about both ways here. One employee left a note on her manager's desk saying she quit and wouldn't be back. Another employee got mad, yelled at the boss, and walked out the door. Neither option, of course, is the best way to resign if you can help it. The employee who resigns gracefully, gives 2 weeks' notice, writes a polite resignation letter, and thanks the employer for the opportunities they had during their tenure at the company will leave on a positive rather than a negative note and will have a better chance of getting a good employment reference. So here's what you should do and what you shouldn't do when resigning from a job. Do clean up your computer. Even if you give notice, your employer may decide that you should be done right now and they may show you out the door. Before you turn in your resignation, clean up your computer. Delete personal files and email messages. Make sure you have the contact information for everyone you need to keep in touch with after you're gone. Don't put it in writing. Regardless of how much you hate your job, hate your boss, or hate the company, don't say it. Even if quitting is the best career move you've made to date, keep it to yourself. They have links out there on here's what to say when you quit your job. You can also review what not to say when you're resigning. Your resignation letter will be in place in your employment file and it can come back to haunt you, even years after you've resigned. It honestly isn't worth venting. If you've got issues at work, it's most appropriate to deal with them before you leave. Do give notice when possible. Unless the situation is untenable, giving 2 weeks notice is standard practice when resigning. They do have links out there. Here are some reasons when you could quit without notice, so you could look at those. If you want to leave sooner, it's appropriate to ask if you can leave sooner. Do write a resignation letter. It's a good idea to write a formal resignation letter for your employment file, even if you resign via email or on the phone. You don't need to say much more than you're leaving and when your last day of work will be. If you're not sure what to say, you can review some different resignation letter samples that are online for just about every resignation scenario you can think of, from formal to heartfelt to relocation, returning to school, and other personal resignation situations. Get the details. When you tell your boss or human resources department that you're leaving, be sure to get the details on the employee benefits and salary you are entitled to when you leave. Inquire about continuing health insurance coverage through COBRA, which is the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, or through your government's health insurance marketplace, collecting unused vacation and sick pay, and cashing in or rolling over your 401k and any other pension plan. Don't be negative. When you're talking about your resignation with coworkers, try to emphasize the positive and talk about how the company has benefited you, even though it's time to move on. There's no point in being negative. You're leaving and you want to leave on good terms. Don't brag about your new job. Even if you just got the best job in the world, don't brag about it. Is there really any point to making your soon-to-be ex-colleagues feel badly that you're leaving, both because they'll miss you and because you've got a great job to go to? Do offer to help. If it's feasible, offer to help during the transition and afterwards. The offer may not be acceptable, but it will be appreciated. Do ask for a reference. Ask your boss and colleagues if they would be willing to give you a reference. If they agree, ask them to write you a LinkedIn recommendation, as well as being able to send that to you via email or even by phone. You'll have the reference as part of your LinkedIn profile, which is great for your future job search endeavors. And last but not least, don't forget to say goodbye. Before you leave, take the time to send a farewell message to coworkers and let them know that you're moving on to a new position, starting a job search, retiring, or doing something else with your life. It's appropriate to send an email farewell message. You can include contact information so they can stay in touch. They do have a link on there about how to say farewell to colleagues. So if you really need some more information about that, then that would be a good one for you. So hopefully this kind of helps you get through leaving your current job if that's something that you are debating on doing. You want to do it the right way and not the wrong way. So you can also get online and look up the correct way to leave a job and find other scenarios as well. So I hope this was helpful. So let's switch gears a little bit and get out of all that, ooh, we're leaving a job stuff. And let's take a look at the future in jobs. This is what's really exciting. So imagine it's 2025 and you're preparing to interview candidates for an open position. Are you setting up your office for an interview? Are you charging up the latest wearable technology and getting ready for a live video chat right from your wrist? Close to 2/3 of hiring managers already are using video interviews to locate and hire top talent, according to an Office Team study. As this trend continues to grow, what we can expect for the next phase of video interviewing. They also have 8 common myths about working from home, so you could look at that as well. There's no doubt that the modern workplace is transforming into a video chat-focused world. Because of this, employers need to adopt the latest video interviewing trends to help them identify the best talent for their organization. And I'm going to talk to you about the 6 ways that the video chatting might influence the future of interviewing, but we're already seeing these changes, aren't we? I mean, come on. You can't go anywhere without seeing technology being a part of the workforce, period. Even applying online. You can't even go to McDonald's anymore and just fill out an application, turn it in, get interviewed on the spot, and get hired. It's not like that anymore. You have to apply online. You go through an interview process. If they like you, you'll come back for another interview process, and then you get hired. And that's McDonald's. So just imagine how it would be and I'm not saying that McDonald's is not a real workforce. I'm just saying that in a more professional type workforce, and we're not in the fast food industry. Just imagine how different that would be and how many things. This is why your resume is really important. We're using links more often, email systems where they're sending you links that you can click on to do certain things, and taking tests online with Microsoft Office, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, all that kind of stuff. So we're seeing those links. You're seeing video job posts now, as well as using online databases to find a job. Remember how it used to be? We would look through the newspaper, you would go to the job, you would fill out the app. You don't even have to leave your house anymore to find a job. You can just sit right there, go on Indeed, and we're going to actually, here in the next slide, we're going to go over some of these different places that you can go find these jobs. However, you don't even have to leave your house. They're actually having the smartwatch chats. And actually, the future workplace will no longer require candidates to apply to poorly written job postings or submit paper resumes. Instead, job boards will be turned into video platforms where job seekers can view job postings and reply directly with video application. Tools such as OnGig or employer branding tool enabled employers to create more engaging job posts and attract talent to their companies. For example, Salesforce.com used OnGig to create a video job post, shared it on social media, and the job post got retweeted 57 times. So you can see how we're even able to gear in some social media with all this. They're able to screen candidates through smartwatch interviews. Don't have enough time to screen hundreds of candidates? Why not set up video interviews on the go with your smartwatch? Smartwatches will potentially have an impact on video interviews. Hiring managers and candidates everywhere will be connected. With the concept of already in development, video interviewing apps on smartwatches look to become the next generation of interviewing. Can you believe that? Interviewing from your watch? Really? What does this world come to? So using Snapchat to screen candidates. Originally a video and photo sharing platform for millennials, Snapchat is quickly turning into a platform for businesses to reach their target audience. Because of this, there's no reason why employers can't adopt a similar strategy when interviewing candidates. Believe it or not, there are already employers who are using Snapchat to recruit candidates. For example, earlier this year, an Irish pub accepted job applications exclusively through Snapchat. Their employer thought this technique would force candidates to sell their skills in 10 seconds or fewer. I mean, think about it. First impressions are the best thing, and they say you can usually read someone within the first 10 to 15 seconds of meeting them, right? So Snapchat would be great for this. This is part of that social media that you've got. Asking references to submit video recommendations. Obtaining references is a crucial part of the interview process. Instead of using phone calls to gather information from references, why not ask them to send in a video of their recommendation? These videos will enable employers to rewatch recommendations, which may be effective for making a hiring decision. So even your references can turn in a video of how great you are, kind of thing. So how cool is that? Using video screen sharing to test candidates' skills. If you're interviewing a candidate on this opposite side of the country but want to test whether he or she has the skills needed for the job, invite him or her to perform a skills assessment via live video. During this assessment, ask the candidate to share screens so he or she can display performance in real time. For example, if you're interviewing candidates for a graphic design position, you could give them the objective of designing a graphic in Illustrator. Although this might add pressure to the interview, it will show the employer what the candidate is capable of creating. Announcing job offers through video. There have already been a few cases of employers offering candidates by sharing photos on social media platforms. Why not adopt a similar concept and share video job offers? There are a number of creative ways to make videos to share job offers. You can create a quick clip using Instagram or publish no longer welcome video to YouTube. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. You can create a quick clip using Instagram or publish a longer welcome video to YouTube. This can add a personal touch to a job offer and potentially generate some positive PR for your company. So video interviewing is quickly changing the way employers connect with talent and hire top candidates. By paying attention to these trends, you'll have the opportunity to shape your video interviewing process for the future. Thinking future here. Mashable job board listings. So the Mashable job board connection job seekers across the U.S. with unique career opportunities in the digital space. While we publish a wide range of job listings, we have selected a few job opportunities for the past several weeks to help you get started. So Mashable job board listings could be something else that we can actually look at, but they have digital content, iOS developer, strategic accounting, and things along that line. When it comes to finding a job, a lot has changed in the last 5 years. The internet has reshaped the way we find jobs by offering such varied resources such as job sites, search engines, and social networks. However, many of the tried and true job finding techniques still work. Here we can help you find your new job by combining the latest in online resources with some classic strategies. So you could do the reach out to people you know, check out job listings, and things along those out. So reach out to people you know. With at least 70% of job seekers finding employment through networking, one of the best ways to land your first job, or any job for that matter, is to be referred by someone you know. So the old saying, I got that because of somebody I know, really does stand true. So tell your family, friends, and neighbors what interests you and what kind of job you're looking for. If you know people who are in the career field of interest, ask them how they started out. Make sure to write down any names, phone numbers, or information that might help you in your search. Also, remember to make a note of who gave you referrals so you can thank them later. Be sure to follow up with everyone. Try to set up meetings with people in your career field of interest, even if you're simply asking for information. During the meeting, be honest and be yourself. The rest will come. And don't forget to thank anyone who helps you, even the smallest of favors. Developing and maintaining these relationships is known as networking. It's a powerful tool, and it does work. So you can check out job listings. Job listings are everywhere, online, in the newspaper, in trade magazines, and even on bulletin boards of your local coffee shops. Look at them all. Not only will it give you a sense of what's out there, but it will open your eyes to opportunities you might not have discovered otherwise. Your town's newspaper can also be an indispensable resource for local job market. Search for the job ads in the Sunday edition or find the newspaper's website and do a search by job type. If you find something that catches your eye, do exactly what the ad instructs you to do. Whether it's calling for an interview appointment or sending a resume and cover letter, the internet may be your greatest job resource. There are now hundreds of sites ranging in scope from local to national that focus on career planning and job searching. To find them, search for words like entry-level jobs, internships, volunteering, first job, or a word or phrase like engineering, veterinarian school, or photography, indicating the kind of job for which you are searching. And we are going to actually look at some of those job starters in the next slide. Set up social networks. You're probably familiar with MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, but did you know certain social media networks could help you get a job? Offering a fresh way for people to make new contacts, social networks have become extremely helpful resource for job hunters and employers alike. You can use social networks to make insight connections that will help you learn about jobs you won't find in traditional postings. Start by creating a profile that summarizes your academic accomplishments and career goals on a career-focused social network. Then build your network by connecting with your friends, teachers, neighbors, and former colleagues. Your network will consist of your connections, and all the people they know. Some reach out to as many as you can. The more connections you make, the more friends of a friend you can meet. The better your chances of finding a contact that can fill in or set you up with a career opportunity. This might seem obvious, but it's still wise to clean up your social networking profiles. Most employers search the web for information on candidates and don't want them to see something that sheds an unflattering light on you. Anything that you wouldn't want your parents or teachers to see is probably something you also don't want future employers to see, whether it's a picture, video, offensive language, or other inappropriate content. So some helpful career-specific social networking sites would be LinkedIn, MyWorkster, and those are just a couple of them. Definitely speak with a recruiter. Depending on what stage you're in at the career and what kind of field you want to go into, you may want to employ the help of a recruiter. Formerly known as headhunters, recruiters work with companies and organizations to help them find a new employee and to find you a job. Some recruiters work only with seasoned professions, but there are recruiting agencies that place employees at all levels. Fields that often use recruiters to find new employees include accounting, marketing, and legal and financial services. Using a recruiter costs you nothing since the hiring company pays the fee. Recruiters can provide you with information on unadvertised jobs and can tap into their lengthy contact list on your behalf. Plus, they will save you time since they do most of the legwork. So some of those recruiters would be like your Workforce, Passages, People Link, and things like that. A lot of elements go into finding a job: networking, resumes, cover letters, and research. And when it comes to finding and hopefully landing the right job for you, you want to make sure you're addressing every aspect of a thorough job search. Stay organized throughout the process and make sure you're taking advantage of every opportunity by following a comprehensive job search checklist. And those can be found online. So you can go straight into there and get yourself a job search checklist. So hopefully you can understand a little better about where jobs are going in the future and what we're going to be expecting here.
All right, so I want to take a look at some of these job banks that they have listed. These are just some starter sites. So we're going to go to monster.com. Oops, I typed it in wrong. Let's try that again. Oh, in caps, nice. Okay, so while that's loading up, so here is another way that you could kind of look for one of those jobs that you might be able to find. Here you can actually post your resume. You can go into career resources if you wanted, being able to find a job. So here's just a simple search of a job. So if I put in technology, and let's say I'm looking in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area, and you would just type in wherever you're looking at. And now I'm going to get a ton of different hits on something that's they consider to be technology based. So if I wanted to, I could get a little bit more vague and broaden that down into, maybe I want, oh, here, here, let's try that one. They give you some ideas by just putting your little cursor up there. Isn't that nice? Ooh, now I'm going to hit search. And this is monster.com, and I basically got the same kind of um, stuff. So let's try something different. How about, I think I've been using the whole travel agent thing here lately. And this is what they consider to be a travel agent. I don't even know if that's what they're called anymore, but you get the idea. Let's look up administrative assistant because there's always, um, I can't type today. Sorry, everyone. All right, here we go. Administrative assistant. All right, so then we're going to have a bunch of administrative assistant type jobs um, that we could look at and let you know how long it's been. Now, I'm going to tell you that if it's been over 2 weeks, they probably have already found somebody for that position. It's just still on here. So you kind of want to keep that 14 days or less. So if we're getting into 27, 25, 21, the odds of you 30 plus, the odds of you actually getting that position is probably very slim to none. So just keep that in mind when you're doing that job search. Let's look at Career Builder. This is just another one of those job searching sites that we can go to. And on Career Builder, it's set up pretty much the same way. I can still add my resume. I can browse jobs. So if I went into administrative assistant, and I'll do where I'm at, see what it comes up with. It'll probably give me a radius. Most of these will probably be in Fort Wayne. But that gives you, and it also lets you know when they were posted. So it looks like Career Builder might be a good one as far as some of your newer items. So let's say that you actually find the job that you want, then you could push on it. And it looks like from here, it tells you about the job description, tells you about what you would be doing, so you could apply now. We can apply as a guest unless you want to sign up for an account, which you could very well do if you wanted. I'm going to see if I can. I'm not sure where I put that, so let me see. And okay. And click continue. I am not including a cover letter, but you most definitely can. And you can submit. And by submitting, it sends it to them. And then oh, apparently I have an account, but I don't remember what my password is for that. Nope. All right, so that's just another way that you can go in for that job searching. They also have www.usajobs.gov. So this would be a government type site, and it's set up exactly the same way. And they've also got job bank info. I think I typed it in wrong. I did. Computer's like, what? That's not going to work. All right, let's try that again. www.jobbankinfo.com. There we go. Let's try that. All right, so here's and you can do that by state, it looks like. Let me get out of this. Push on Indiana. Or you would push on whatever your state is. And this is an Indiana Career Connect. So now I can post a job, look for a job, search for a job. Same concept as all of the other ones. Let's try this one. I have actually never, it's godefense.com. Oh, apparently that's no longer working. Let's try aftercollege.com. And same concept here. And they even have it broke down a little better. So you can search, apply, and so forth and so on. So there are tons of different kinds of job banks out there. You just got to find the one that's going to be the most beneficial to you. And don't forget, we've always got Indeed that you can use, and that is rated the #1 top job bank that you can find. You just create an account on there and move on, basically, and you'll get updates, and they'll send you emails and things along those lines. So I hope this part was beneficial so you're able to see some of these sites that we've been talking about.
Wow, what a class we had, didn't we? So here's my final thought for you guys, all right? This was a lot of information on how to find a job, how to get the job, how to create a resume, how to leave the job, the technology in jobs, and just jobs, jobs, jobs. And I know this is an overwhelming class, it's quite large, but really it is going to benefit you in the long run to actually take some of this initiative and these steps that it's going to take to better yourself. And that's basically what it boils down to. You need to be happy, and that's what it's about. It's about your happiness, your future, your finances. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. You need to worry about you, and you need to take care of you and yours. So my final thought for you is be selective, think, take charge on your own resume, be thinking about the future. Brush up on those computer programs, because as much as we hate having to know that computers are the way of the future, they are, and they're not going anywhere. And if anything, technology is just going to keep evolving, okay? And it's just going to keep changing, and you're going to have to keep learning new things. And if you want to stay ahead of the game, then you need to educate yourself. No one's going to do that for you except you, whether that's actually taking courses or just finding someone that can help you, like someone like me at your local library that can sit down with you and show you the tricks of the trade kind of thing, okay? You can contact me, call me, email me, however you need to do it. I don't care where you live at this point. You can live in any state or any country. I am here for you. So I don't want anybody to be left behind and unhappy with their current situation. I am here to help you. So if you need that help, please take advantage of it and get in contact with me so that I can better assist you on what you can do to make your life easier as well. So to sum it all up, I have faith in you. I know you can do this. You can do this. Self-confidence is going to be your #1 priority right now. Having that self-confidence to do what you need to do for your life and your situation. Okay? So definitely get in contact with me. Research, research, research. Find out everything you can about what it is you want to do before you actually do it. Proofread those resumes. Nothing's worse than turning in a resume that doesn't even make sense, okay? Find someone that can help you with that. And you're not in this alone, and you need to know that. You are not the only one. Just make sure you're smart about it, you do it right, and you should have no problems at all. Don't burn your bridges. Make sure you can get references, and just do things the right way. Hey, I give you props for just taking the class. So thanks for being a part of it. This isn't my thank you. This is just my final thought. But be productive, be personal, be professional, honest, integrity, all of those things we talked about. So thanks so much. All right. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for taking this stream class. You are now closer to a better job for yourself. Congratulations. Without you, there would be no reason to have these classes. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Take a deep breath. It's all over. You did it. Remember to watch more of my classes. Join my group on Facebook, Tech Talk Technology, and always remember one-on-one appointments are available to you and they are free. You don't have to live in Indiana for me to assist you. We can do that via email, phone, however, any video chatting type service, anything. So keep that in mind. Call me today, and hey, you guys, thanks so much. And I really, really am pulling for you. I hope you get that job. And if you do, please email me and let me know about it because I want to hear about it. And I want to know that it's because you learned something in this class that helped you with that. So thanks again. You should be very proud of yourself. You're already on your steps to getting a better job. Thanks, guys. I would like to thank the following websites for their information and pictures. Without their information and pictures, this class could not take place, so thank you so much.